weekdays. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and MyNorthwest.com.
Good morning, it's 5:02. I'm Manda Factor, recapping our top story. 1 person dead, 9 hurt, 9 are still missing after a chemical tank ruptured at the Nippon Dynawave paper mill in Longview yesterday. KIRO News Radio's Corwin Hake is on the scene this morning. Seattle police investigating a double shooting in the Central District. A man and woman are at Harborview in serious condition after being shot on Boren Avenue last night. The gunman got away. A deadly hit-and-run in South Snohomish County. Deputies say a 55-year-old driver clipped a Mustang, then crossed into oncoming traffic near Broadway and U-Way, killing himself in a head-on crash. The other driver had minor injuries. Seattle City Council member Rob Sacco wants the mayor to switch on security cameras near the stadiums before next month's World Cup matches. The mayor's office says the cameras stay off unless there's a credible threat. And the Mariners beat the Athletics 4-1 in Sacramento. Logan Gilbert takes the mound this afternoon as Seattle goes for the sweep. First pitch at 12:05. It's 5:03 and time for an early check on traffic. Chris Sullivan is here. Good morning.
Good morning, Mando. Off to a very good start on this Wednesday morning. No problems out there. All green on the map to start the day. And a 30-minute trip to go from Olympia to Tacoma. 35 minutes from Federal Way to Seattle. Puyallup to Renton, just seeing a little bit of braking at the far north end as you try to tie into 405. So 35 minutes from Puyallup to Renton. Renton to Bellevue is only 15. Lake bridges are quiet. Coming down from the north end, no problems. We've got about 35 minutes from Everett to Seattle or Everett to Bellevue. KIRO News Radio Real-Time Traffic. I'm Chris Sullivan.
News matters. Experience counts. You're listening to Charlie Harger and Manda Factor, Seattle's morning news.
It's 5:04 this morning on the Start Here program. ABC's Brad Milkey takes a look at the highly consequential Texas primary.
Across Texas last night, polls closed at 7 p.m. The race of the day, of course, was a GOP primary runoff between current Senator John Cornyn and Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. Now, usually, if an incumbent runs, the incumbent wins. That's the rule. It's certainly newsworthy when they get taken down by a challenger in their own primary. But we talked about this yesterday. If Paxton won, it represented something even bigger. This would have the power not to just reshape a Senate seat, but potentially reshape the national midterm picture. So let's take a step back for a second. Remember, if Democrats can flip 4 seats in November, they take back the Senate. That's all they need to have power over legislation, power over Supreme Court nominations, cabinet picks. If they could flip Texas, the thinking goes, flipping the other 3 seats would get a whole lot easier. Many analysts agree Paxton could be a much easier opponent to face than, say, a 4-term senator.
Tonight, we've come up short in this primary runoff.
Last night, as the votes came in, it became clear Paxton had won this easily.
Tonight, we just made history.
He had blown the doors off this race, and overnight, Texas has turned into this November's fiercest battle. Let's start the day with ABC's D.C. Bureau Chief Rick Klein. Rick, big victory for Paxton here. Can you just walk us through the significance of this?
Yeah, I mean, the ending of John Cornyn's Senate career happened in dramatic fashion. It happened to a guy that is just very well known in Texas political circles and nationally, usually not for the right reasons. This is a guy that has been scandal-plagued for years, Brad. He was impeached by Republicans in a Republican state, although not convicted. He's had criminal charges filed against him and dropped. He's had scandals involving a salacious divorce. And all of that just seemed to draw him closer to Donald Trump.
When everyone in Washington told him to abandon me and abandon the people of Texas, he didn't listen. Instead, he gave his complete and total endorsement.
For months, Republicans have been saying to him nationally, hey, stay out of this race or give it to Cornyn. Cornyn's going to win, and Cornyn wins, then we don't have to worry about holding on to Texas. Instead, just a week out, Trump threw his weight behind Ken Paxton, and Paxton winning here automatically vaults Texas to the top of the competitive races this fall.
Texas will be the radical left's #1 priority. But if there's one thing I know about Texans, it's that we're not going to let them take it.
Democrats see a real opportunity there, and frankly, Republicans fear that opportunity. It's going to be enormously expensive and enormously competitive all the way through November.
Well, and so let's talk about, after all, there's another guy running in this race. It's the Democrat. We know that is James Tallarico. That's the Democratic Party's candidate running for Senate. What should we know about him, and I guess how does he sort of factor into this race?
Yeah, Tallarico has become just a fast-rising star in the Democratic Party. Only 37 years old, but he's been in the Texas legislature for years now.
They're raising taxes on all of us while they cut taxes for themselves. The real fight in this country is not left versus right. It's top versus bottom.
He's got a reputation as someone more on the progressive side than the moderate side, but someone that has been apt to make some surprises. And famously, he broke through with an interview with Joe Rogan.
There is reason and good reasons to be disillusioned. Mm-hmm. I guess all I'm pushing back on is that second step of it's always going to be this way.
Right. It doesn't have to be this way.
That is the key step.
Right.
So
that's because you need to run for president.
Yeah.
We need someone who's actually a good person.
Everyone from him to Stephen Colbert, who had an interview that went viral online with him.
I'm an 8th-generation Texan. My family has been in our state since it was Mexico. And across...
So you're going to get deported is what you're saying.
And a lot of people are just intrigued by his backstory, his very humble beginnings in Texas, troubled childhood, worked as a teacher, led the Teach for America program, and became a seminarian and a state lawmaker.
My faith teaches me to love my neighbor as myself.
A very compelling character that is guaranteed to raise about as much money as he needs in a very big and expensive state.
Well, and a Presbyterian seminarian, right? I've heard that his faith, I guess I've heard Texans say, like, in some ways he speaks Texan. I mean, does he play differently than a standard Democrat or something?
Well, that's interesting because sometimes what he's spoken has been maybe too frank for Texas when he's talked about, and these are clips that are going to become very famous in the coming months.
God is both masculine and feminine and everything in between. God is non-binary.
He's questioned how many genders there are biologically. That's not something that I think most people of faith in Texas are likely to hear.
Modern science obviously recognizes that there are many more than 2 biological sexes. In fact, there are 6.
There's also just a false rumor out there that he's a vegan.
And he's a vegan. He's a vegan in Texas. And you can't get elected as a vegan in Texas.
Which is, like, in Texas, that's a slur. He's had to combat that by having a picture of himself eating a big old turkey leg. But he has talked about wanting to have less meat consumed in society, which, again, that's a little rough in Texas. So whether he fits Texas broadly or what we thought about it, or the emerging Texas and the Texas of 2026 and maybe beyond, is one of the big questions that'll get settled here.
I think about South Texas, the Rio Grande Valley. The Democratic Party nationally just assumed that those voters were always going to vote for Democrats. And there's nothing worse in a democracy than taking a voter for granted.
A lot of people have compared him to Beto O'Rourke, who came close but fell short in his race against Ted Cruz for the Senate and then flamed out in the presidential race a short time after that. A lot of people that I've talked to see in Tallarico someone who has more political talent and has been discovered a little bit earlier in the process. And there's just a lot of folks that are excited about his candidacy in Texas and well beyond.
Well, and I guess I'm wondering, Rick, like, as you zoom out, is this the kind of candidate the Democrats are hoping get them over the line in several of these states? Can you, I guess, give us a sense of what the map looks like for Democrats and then what candidates they think would help them flip the Senate or flip the House or whatever they're trying to do?
Yeah, start by saying that the Democrats have a brutal map. Very few opportunities. Only one state that has a senator up for re-election is a state that voted for Kamala Harris and currently has a Republican senator. That's the state of Maine. So if you're a Democrat, you got to start there. And they need to pick up 4 total because it's right now a Senate where it's 53 to 47. And if you're going to take control in the party that doesn't have the White House, you have to have 51 votes. So they've got a net 4. So that means holding on to the states they have, including some battlegrounds like Michigan and Georgia and New Hampshire, and then expanding the map. And the kinds of candidates that they're going with, they really fall into 2 categories. One is the Tallarico mode. I think you'd put Graham Plattner, who's the Democratic candidate in Maine, in a similar type of mode of like a younger kind of outsider image.
We will defeat Susan Collins. We will go to Washington and we will start tearing down the system.
Maybe he's said and done some questionable things in the past.
His skull and crossbones tattoo, which he says he had for almost 20 years and had no idea it resembled a Nazi symbol.
So you have to win states like that. If they can win Maine and Texas, they're well on their way to potentially winning. But what would put them over the top would be more moderate and kind of establishment figures in states that trend a little bit more red.
I didn't plan to run for office again.
But when I see what's going on, I know I can do something about it for Ohio.
Sherrod Brown in Ohio or Roy Cooper in North Carolina. The Brown was a longtime senator, Cooper a former governor. They're Democrats.
Say, these are names I know, Rick. This is the old guard.
Yeah. And if those kind of like old school Democrats can pull it off, and in addition to some of these emerging stars, that's the secret sauce for Democrats. They need all of those things, both of those ends of the spectrum to work, and then they can talk about those states in addition to some longer shots like Alaska, Iowa, maybe even Nebraska, where there's an independent candidate running. But everything has to go right for them. But so far, things have gone more right than wrong. Coming into the year, there weren't a lot of people that thought Democrats had any chance of taking on the Senate. Now, I think it's getting realistic, and you start to focus in on these candidates, focus in on the stakes, focus in on Donald Trump and the perceptions around him, and you could have a real ball game.
They want to win. I know how to win. Some of them don't know how to win. I know how to win. I think I've proven that, haven't I?
Lastly, President Trump, his endorsements at this point, they've all been, obviously, Trumpy candidates. Do those move the needle for Republican voters, and do those move the needle for national voters, and is there a difference there?
There's a huge difference, Brad, and that's one reason that this primary season could be misleading when it comes to Trump's power. We've seen a number of instances where Trump's endorsement basically turned a race around and handed it to the person that Trump wanted, even if that person is more extreme or more controversial. That doesn't matter. But that isn't the kind of voter that determines a general election in a battleground state. It just isn't. And so activating the Trump base, yes, that's important, but it's not going to be enough. And in winning in a primary, especially in the polarized politics of 2026, it just is not necessarily a recipe for success. And there's a lot of voters for whom, yes, Donald Trump is a motivating factor to go vote for, but there's a lot of voters also, Brad, we've learned are motivating factors to vote against Donald Trump.
Yeah, and it's interesting. ABC News has a new poll out just this morning with the Washington Post and with Ipsos, and it asked Americans, what is the worst thing about either of these parties? And Donald Trump dominated the discussion here. The thing Americans didn't like the most about Republicans was Trump himself, or perceived loyalty to Trump. And then even for Democrats, often the answer of what don't you like about the Democrats, there were people that said like they're too liberal, they're too woke, came up in these open-ended answers. But the most popular response was that they were not strong enough in standing up to Donald Trump. Rick Klein, after a big night in Texas. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
ABC's Brad Milkey. It's 5:14. It's going to be a really nice day. Weather-wise, we are looking for highs in the low 70s for today, upper 70s tomorrow. And then by Friday, we'll start to see some showers again. But 2 really nice days ahead. Right now in Seattle, we have clear skies. The sun's coming up. It's 53 degrees. Coming up, more from ABC's Brad Milkey on this morning's Start Here. This is Seattle's Morning News.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with the KIRO Newsradio App. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News.
This hour of Seattle's Morning News is brought to you by Closets by Design Seattle.
KIRO News Radio, where you turn for the news you depend on.
KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey is here with more.
24% of businesses are now thinking about leaving Washington.
Traffic.
We are definitely seeing some slowing through the S-curves.
Conversation.
We build it, we produce it, we charge for it.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
A one-hander! Are you kidding me?
Broadcasting live from the KIRO News Radio YouTube channel. KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM.
Under these arches, opposing teams are put to the test. Can they hear themselves over the boom of the 12s? Can they withstand the Seattle elements? Can they compete against us?
Touchdown! Seahawks!
This city lives for Sunday. Get your tickets for Seahawks game days at Lumen Field and experience what this city lives for. Visit Seahawks.com today.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man. You, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Mark is 76, and his shoulder pain was getting in the way of him playing baseball. You heard that right. baseball.
Yeah, there's a whole league here of old guys pretending like we're kids.
The pain from severe arthritis just wasn't going away.
It was like a nerve-type pain, and I couldn't sleep at night.
That's when Mark decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
Well, if I can avoid surgery anytime, you'd probably be better off.
Mark is back out on the diamond playing baseball.
So I moved into this retirement community, and I talked about my shoulder, and these old people here, they got all excited about it, and 2 of them now have gone to see Mark Wagner. They don't like driving into Seattle, so I drive them in.
He more than recommends Dr. Wagner. He chauffeurs. So whether it's a hip like mine or a shoulder, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. He's the most experienced in the Northwest with over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com.
So, how's your research going?
Surprising. After I figured out the top-rated TVs in our price range, I went shopping for deals.
And who's the best?
It wasn't the internet, and it wasn't the warehouse club.
But?
It was video only. They had better deals on the Samsung, LG, and the Sony TVs that got the highest scores.
Better than online and at the club?
I know! Video only beat them all. And now we can afford an even better model for the same price. My research really paid off.
If we buy it video only.
Exactly. Otherwise, we'll be sorry.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In South Center, Bellevue, Linwood, Federal Way, and Tacoma, Video Only.
Bringing you Seattle's morning news since 1974. This is KIRO Newsradio.
It's 5:18. Good morning. ABC's Brad Milkey continues this morning's Start Here with correspondent Ian Pannell in Tel Aviv.
This past weekend, President Trump gave some encouraging news. Amid ongoing negotiations in Qatar, he said the framework of a peace deal with Iran had come into focus. And yet, less than 24 hours later, Trump said, actually, there's no rush. If anything, he said, diplomats should take their time crafting a broader deal. And by the end of the day Sunday, the U.S. had fired on Iranian naval facilities in what they described as a targeted strike. Well, yesterday, in a written statement read aloud to Iranians on state TV, Iran's new supreme leader warned there would be retaliation.
The clock cannot be turned back, and the nations and lands of the region will no longer be a shield for American bases.
Saying the U.S. would pay for its, quote, mischief. Let's take you to the region right now. ABC's chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell is standing by. Ian, first off, what can you tell us about this American strike? I guess, what was it? How significant was it?
Yeah, I mean, this took place in southern Iran. CENTCOM is describing it as a self-defense operation, essentially, saying that it targeted Iranian fast boats. These are the boats that are used by the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which is essentially the military vanguard that protects the regime, that has been responsible for targeting some of the shipping inside that area, and also targeting missile launchers, which, of course, the US and others have said, well, they were totally obliterated.
I would say we knocked out 85% of their missile capacity. It's very hard for them now to build missiles.
Clearly, Iran still retains that capability. Now, they haven't explicitly said what the threat was, but they did say it was to protect U.S., primarily naval personnel in the region. I think it speaks to the fragility of the ceasefire and the ongoing threat there, and the reality that despite all this bombing that's taken place, as billions and billions of dollars have been spent, Iran still remains a potent force.
Yeah, but that's the thing, Ian. That's what's so confusing to me is we've heard now threats of retaliation from the Iranians. The U.S. has kept insisting that we are near a kind of peace deal. Not only have the Iranians denied that, but we keep actively firing on each other. So what are the potential next steps toward a peace deal, and what things are clearly standing in the way of that?
Yeah, I mean, Iran, of course, called it a serious violation. They said that they would retaliate, as we've seen before, for example, when the U.S. Navy intercepted Iranian boats that were trying to breach the blockade that the U.S. has put in place.
They also launched cruise missiles, drones, small boats at U.S. forces defending commercial shipping in the Straits, and United States Navy MH-60 helicopters and Army AH-64 Apache helicopters successfully defeated those threats.
So you've kind of had this low-level tit for tat. Now, I don't think it means that the ceasefire isn't still there. One should expect that there are going to be these moments, but I think it speaks to the difficulty of actually trying to get a lasting peace if you can't even have this system in place where the US has got this naval blockade to try and stop any ships going to Iranian shores or leaving Iranian shores, and you don't have the free flow of vessels through the Strait of Hormuz, which we keep talking about.
How close would you say that you are to a deal right now with Iran?
Could happen any day. Could, and it might not happen, but it could happen any day.
We've heard many predictions that the end is in sight. We've seen lots of deadlines imposed by President Trump that have come and gone and had no impact.
I'm saying 2 or 3 days, maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday, something, maybe early next week, a limited period of time.
Now, I think one thing is clear is that both sides, both the Iranians and the US, are saying, yes, there's been progress on some issues. That's fine. But the key sticking points, in particular Iran's nuclear program, still remains a major stumbling block.
We're going to either make sure they don't have a nuclear weapon, or we're going to have to do something very drastic.
President Trump taken social media yesterday saying that Iran's going to give up its highly enriched uranium. It's got something like 1,000 pounds of highly enriched uranium. In other words, uranium that is enriched to such a level that it wouldn't take much more to then turn it into weapons grade. But it also has lower level highly enriched uranium, and it still has, despite all the bombing, the ability to cascade centrifuges. What does that mean? In other words, it means it still has the ability to create more highly enriched uranium. And Iran is saying that this is its right, as it is for many other countries, to have a peaceful nuclear program. Now, Israel and the US and many others feel that Iran's program is not peaceful at all. And despite all the optimism, the mood music that we're hearing from the president, from Secretary of State Rubio,
it's either going to be a good deal or there isn't going to be one.
The reality is there's no settlement on these issues. And having said over the weekend that a deal looks like it's going to be agreed in the coming 24 hours or days, we're now looking at a number of days without any obvious sign of an agreement. And I think that's part of the problem.
All right, Ian Panel there in Tel Aviv right now, really clarifying. Thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
ABC's Brad Milkey. It's 5:24. It's going to be a beautiful day. Just peeked outside. It's starting to get a little light. Mostly sunny, 73 today. Sunshine pushing 80 for tomorrow. And then a pretty drastic change on Friday. Will only be around 61 for the high with some scattered showers rolling in. Saturday and Sunday, a little dry, but only in the 60s. Right now in Seattle, again, it's clear and 51. And coming up on Seattle's Morning News, News Nation host Leland Vittert on the war in Iran and the Texas primary. Coming up here on KIRO News Radio.
Choke Points with Chris Sullivan.
With Choke Points, we try to answer listeners' questions. It can be as simple as a neighborhood stop sign, or it can be as big as the budget for transportation. I don't care. I'll find the answer for you. It's really easy to get a hold of me at mynorthwest.com. We have a direct link there that gets right to me. You can also do it in the app. You can hit me up on the text line.
Choke Points, presented by Carter Subaru. Tuesdays and Thursdays on KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM.
At T-Mobile Park, you've always got the best seat in the house. But if you're looking for a truly golden view, look no further than the seats on the first baseline, a.k.a. Tridenttown. Post up behind the Mariners dugout, and you get a great view of Logan Gilbert, Brian Wu, and our entire rotation at work.
Swing and a miss! Fastball upstairs, blew it by him, strike three.
Not to mention the best view of the best home run celebration in baseball. When the Trident goes up, you know a party's going down.
It is gone! Julio!
Mariners baseball. Trident Cell.
Don't miss two great interleague matchups at T-Mobile Park. The next Mariners homestand starts this Friday with a 3-game set against Corbin Carroll and the D-backs. Then, the action continues as Juan Soto and the Mets come to town Monday, June 1st through Wednesday, June 3rd. Get your tickets today at mariners.com.
Every 2 minutes, an American is sexually assaulted. Be the someone who gives their time. Be the someone who lends an ear. Be the someone who takes a step. This is Christina Ricci with RAIN. asking you to join the fight against sexual violence and volunteer in your community. Log on to RAINN.org, that's RAINN.org, to learn how you can be the someone.
This message brought to you by the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network and this station.
Hey, how's your money situation? Are you ready for retirement? Well, if you want to know what the pros are doing to make wealth multiply and retire like royalty, then you need to listen to this show, Sound Path Through Retirement, with Ben Koval and Matt Liebarger. Get your money right and tune in every weekend, Saturdays at 10 a.m. and noon on KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
My name is Carlos, and I'm a Cub Scout. I'm here to talk to you today about becoming a scout like me. Cub Scouts get badges for doing fun activities, and we make friends. Scouts go camping, climbing, and fishing, and swimming together. We play sports and go to parades. Scouts also help people and become the best versions of themselves. Visit bascout.org to find a pack near you, get any questions answered, and sign up for Cub Scouts online.
Wait! Before you change the station, listen to this.
Donate your car at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll also get a vacation voucher and a tax deduction.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. Donate your car today.
He flew fighter jets in 2 wars and taught you how to drive a car. He fed everyone on the block, but never shared his secret recipes. And every time he'd tell a story, he'd own the room. But now more than ever, he may feel alone. Today, older adults and their loved ones are struggling to connect in a time when connection has never been more important. But there is something we can do. Embrace our older loved ones through StoryCorps Connect. With StoryCorps Connect, you can honor seniors remotely with an interview about their life. Every interview will be archived at the Library of Congress, becoming part of American history, so that years from now, future generations can listen in.
All right, Grandpa, what's one piece of advice you have for me?
Just 3 words, sweetheart. Live with courage. The man that had the best stories still has plenty of stories to tell. So connect virtually and share the conversation of a lifetime at StoryCorpsConnect.org/AARP. Connect, honor, share. StoryCorps Connect. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
Epic parties start at Staples. Now you can grab Party City balloons, decorations, and tableware, plus matching custom invites, banners, and more right at Staples. That was easy.
This is Chris Davis with the Davis Law Group. Did you know that a pedestrian does not have to be crossing the street on a marked crosswalk to have a successful legal claim against the driver? Pedestrians can even be partially at fault for a collision and still have a valuable claim. Call us today for a free consultation or get my free book on pedestrian accident law at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com. That's Davis Law Group, better service and even better results.
KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and MyNorthwest.com.
Good morning, it's 5:30. I'm Manda Factor. 1 person is dead, 9 hurt, 9 more still missing after a chemical tank ruptured at a paper mill in Longview. The Longview Fire Department says it happened about 7:20 yesterday morning at the Nippon Dynawave packaging facility. 8 workers and a firefighter were hurt. Governor Bob Ferguson spoke at a news conference last night.
To Washington, I want all those individuals to know that we stand with you. We'll be here to do everything we can to help with the situation, and we'll be here as long as it takes.
It's not clear if the person who died worked at the mill, but all 9 people still missing late last night do. Crews are now trying to stabilize the damaged tank before they can safely start recovery operations. And a vigil honored the victims of the implosion last night. KIRO 7 TV's Jack Bilyeu has more.
Sing God's praise.
Song and prayer at a vigil in downtown Longview.
As our world has been turned upside down.
After a historic disaster along the Columbia River. Organizers say this is a loss that's touched almost everyone in the community.
You know, when anything happens down at the mills, we all know somebody affected. You know, this is probably the worst job site disaster we've had here ever.
KIRO Newsradio's Corwin Hake is on the scene this morning. He'll join us live coming up starting at 6 o'clock. Seattle police are investigating a Madison Park homicide after a man was found dead in a parking lot Sunday. Officers called just after 5 p.m. to the 4000 block of East Madison Street, where they discovered the victim with clear signs of trauma. Seattle Fire pronounced him dead at the scene. The medical examiner will identify the victim and determine the cause. There's no suspect description yet. The Pierce County Sheriff's Office is still asking for help finding the suspects who gunned down 17-year-old Braylon Diaz in Parkland Sunday night. Deputies say Diaz was walking with his girlfriend near 102nd Street South and Sheridan Avenue South when a vehicle stopped. The suspects robbed Diaz of jewelry, then shot him before speeding off. Diaz's mother spoke with KIRO 7 TV before Braylon's vigil last night.
God, I didn't want it to be real. I still don't want it to be real. I want to wake up from this. He gave them what they wanted, and they still took it from me. From everybody.
Detectives released surveillance video. They're focusing on a car of interest, a small red four-door sedan. You can see the video at mynorthwest.com. A high-profile immigration lawyer in Tukwila has given up her law license rather than face a disciplinary hearing. The Seattle Times reports Alexandra Lozano surrendered her license yesterday, just as the Washington State Bar Association was preparing its misconduct case. The move is permanent. She can't practice law anywhere in the country now. 9 former clients sued her this month, calling her services fraudulent. And the Mariners kept it going last night, beating the Athletics 4-1 in Game 2 of the series in Sacramento. Star of the game was M's pitcher Emerson Hancock, who spun 6 scoreless innings, allowing just 1 hit.
Hancock ready. He deals. Swung on, hard hit right to JP on 2 hops at short. Underhand toss to second. Cole Young stomps on the bag, and that's it for the A's in the 6th. Emerson Hancock, excellent night against the A's. Scoreless, 6 innings on 1 hit. He was brilliant.
Seattle will look for the sweep this afternoon. First pitch, 12:05, and you can listen on our sister station, 710 Seattle Sports. It's 5:33. That's time for a check on traffic, and for that, we turn it over to Chris Sullivan.
And we're seeing some building volumes out there, but nothing you can't handle. The heaviest red on the map. For those of you on 410 trying to get through Sumner on westbound, trying to get to 167, pretty heavy from Traffic Ave over to the highway there, and then 167 itself. Seeing some braking out of Auburn, a little bit at the north end. We're already up to about 40 minutes from Puyallup to Renton. Renton to Bellevue, though, only 15, so you'll pick up the pace there. Olympia to Tacoma, no problems so far this morning. And then Federal Way to Seattle's only running right around 35 minutes. There are some brake lights approaching the 405 interchange in South Center. Coming down from the north end, we're looking at a little westbound slowing on the trestle approaching I-5. Once you get over to I-5, it's a pretty good drive the rest of the way. Everett to Seattle, Everett to Bellevue, 35 minutes. KIRO Newsradio Real-Time Traffic. I'm Chris Sullivan.
Sun's coming up. It's going to be beautiful. Mostly sunny, 73 today, 79 tomorrow, and then much cooler on Friday as we see some scattered showers roll in. We'll stay mostly cloudy and a high of 61, but drying out again for the weekend. Right now in Seattle, skies are clear. It's 51.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO Newsradio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio Northwest News. Seattle's morning news. Hear it live. Stream it online. Watch the show or catch the podcast anytime. Seattle's morning news, wherever you are.
To call up Leland Vitter, the host of On Balance, 6 o'clock every weeknight on News Nation. Leland, good morning. Great to have you back with us today. I thought we would start with what you've been talking about in your War Notes newsletter. The situation in Iran. We're getting some mixed signals here. What is your take as these peace negotiations are underway?
Well, we're a lot farther away, I think, than President Trump and his team would like to be. And what you're seeing evolve is a understanding of where the White House wants to end up and why. In order to win this, in the eyes of the American people, the White House thinks they need 3 things. They need the uranium to come out or be destroyed, the enriched uranium the Iranians have. They need the Strait of Hormuz to reopen for gas prices to come down, and they need to somehow have some kind of capitulation outside from Iran. With those 3 things, they can spin, and perhaps rightly so, that this was a real win for America. The sacrifices, the blood, the treasure, the gas prices we have all been paying are all worth it. And if they can get all of those things, they can declare victory. And that, I think, is what you're seeing President Trump want to do.
I'm struggling to understand how we can say that there is a ceasefire in effect when they're trading strikes.
Well, it's a reasonable point. That said, I've been in a lot of Middle East ceasefires where there are skirmishes. I've been in a lot of Middle East ceasefires where there is a small faction that is causing problems, and that sort of both sides agree that that faction will be dealt with differently than the overall picture. There's no question that we're not in a full-scale force-on-force war with the Iranians anymore. Not that the U.S. wouldn't win that, but it's certainly a very different feel, I think, than the original war where you had drone strikes and missile strikes going into Arab countries, into Israel, and to U.S. bases, and the U.S. bombing Iran on an hourly basis.
President is getting some pressure from his right flank, including Ted Cruz, Secretary of State, former Secretary Mike Pompeo. What are we hearing from that side of the aisle?
Yeah, Charlie, I think it's a great point. I don't know whether any more right and left kind of matter, whether Ted Cruz is really to the right of Donald Trump, or is he more hawkish but more conservative fiscally? I have no idea about the spectrum part. But what I can tell you is you identified, I think, the biggest issue for this White House, which is that Republican senators, be it Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham on Iran, be it Tom Tillis and Cornyn and others on the weaponization fund, the $1.76 billion, or the $1 billion ballroom fund, or anything else, Republican senators are no longer afraid to buck President Trump and to publicly challenge him. That's a change. And for a guy who's sitting on a very slim majority going into the midterms, that's a very scary place to be. And it is certainly imperiling all the things the president needs to get done. He needs Supreme Court justices if somebody resigns. He definitely needs some cabinet picks from both for the Attorney General, now for the Director of National Intelligence, others possibly to come confirmed. And he wants to try to get these last few funding bills over before potentially Republicans lose the Senate.
Since you mentioned midterms, let's talk about Texas. A lot of coverage of the primary runoff election taking place there. What's the importance there?
Well, the importance is the completely self-inflicted wound of Republicans. John Cornyn was going to win re-election in a walk in Texas. And because President Trump doesn't like John Cornyn because of Cornyn's past votes and speaking out against Trump, Trump endorsed a guy named Ken Paxton, who's the morally and ethically challenged attorney general in Texas. And I mean as generous as I can. I see Charlie giggling when I said morally challenged attorney general to run. So there was a bruising primary, which cost $100 million for Republicans. Now there is this runoff today that you guys pointed out in which Paxton will almost certainly win because he got the Trump endorsement. And then Paxton goes up against James Tallarico, who's a very charismatic, very popular Democrat that has a chance to win. And even if he's not going to win, he is going to force Republicans to spend $150 million in Texas that they could have spent elsewhere in Michigan or in Ohio or in Maine, North Carolina, and all because President Trump wanted to sort of settle this personal score with John Cornyn.
Nick, you know what my dad always used to say?
Oh, which thing? Let me guess. If you put anything on a hot dog besides mustard, it's un-American?
Okay, that's true. Okay, but no, about the word worry. Remember he used to say about the word worry?
Yes, that it's not a verb, but it actually is.
I know it's a verb, but Nick, his point was nothing comes from worrying. You can sit here and worry about all the news and all about the chaos in the world. You worry about your health, but nothing comes of it. You have to take action.
Right.
Like, for instance, you and I, we go into Longevity Medical Clinic. That's an action. It's a about taking that action. Like people can go to Longevity Medical Clinic, take the free health analysis, and then they can find out how they're aging and the things they can do in order to slow down the process to have a big, full, rich life so you can enjoy a hot dog with whatever you want on it.
And now worry is a verb.
See, there you go. So it all starts with you taking action. I was a patient at Longevity long before I started doing these commercials. So get your free health analysis. Go to lmclinic.com. That's lmclinic.com.
If you're worried your friend may be struggling, remember, you don't have to be there to be there.
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat on the game, kick off your flip-flops. You could ask on your couch while you binge watch. Whatever gets you talking.
Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and the Jed Foundation.
G and Ursula on KIRO News Radio.
You're not going to be able to stop what's going to happen.
I hope he's successful.
9 to noon, streaming live on your smart speaker.
When Dennis suggested retirement planning to his wife, Linda, she had the same reaction lots of people do.
Do we really need it?
Then they attended a free seminar with elder law attorney Rajiv Nagayich at Life Point Law.
He asked me, what do you want? And he truly listened. And at the end of it, it was like, we need to do this.
There are many people on the radio that speak about many things. And when we got here and actually worked with the team that Rajiv has put together, it turns out that it is not just talk, it is action.
And in the worst case?
I said to him, if something happens to Dennis, what would I do exactly? And he said, you pick up the phone and you call Rajiv or you call me. And that right there was like peace of mind.
Register for a free Life Point Law retirement planning seminar in Tacoma on June 4th, Mukilteo June 6th, Lacey June 9th, or Bellevue June 13th, 6:30 p.m. Space is limited. Sign up at lifepointlaw.com. That's lifepointlaw.com.
These are your political insights from ABC News. After the most expensive Senate primary on record, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is the winner of Tuesday's Republican primary runoff, defeating Texas incumbent Senator John Cornyn. Paxton thanking President Trump.
When everyone in Washington told him to abandon me and abandon the people of Texas, he didn't listen. Instead, he gave his complete and total endorsement. President Trump is the leader of our party, and his endorsement in this is the most powerful force in politics.
Cornyn pledging to support his opponent.
I've said throughout this race that I trust the voters of Texas, and they've made their decision, and I must respect it.
Paxton will go on to face Democrat James Tallarico in November. Another Texas primary upset, this time for Democrats. Incumbent Congressman Christian Menefee defeating longtime Representative Al Green in Texas's 18th District. Dave Packer, ABC News.
It's 5:44. Our forecast, absolutely beautiful. Mostly sunny, 73 for today. We'll be up around 80 tomorrow. And then drastic change on Friday. We'll see mostly cloudy skies, scattered showers, and much cooler, 61 Friday. Drying out for the weekend, though. Looks like morning clouds and afternoon sunshine both Saturday and Sunday. It's 51 in Seattle right now. And coming up, in case you missed it, Chris Sullivan has a choke point. Another big change for drivers taking eastbound 520 to Montlake. Sully will explain next here on Seattle's Morning News.
If your idea of a perfect weekend includes a trailhead, a ferry ride, or a last-minute escape to the mountains, say hello to the Subaru Crosstrek. Carter Subaru is Seattle's only Subaru dealership with over 800 Subarus in stock. And right now, get the 2026 Crosstrek with 1.9% financing for 36 months on approved credit. Carter Subaru in Ballard, Shoreline, or online at cartersubaru.com.
On approved credit, subject to vehicle insurance and availability. A documentary service fee may be added to the sale price or capitalized cost. See dealer for details. Valid through 5/31/26.
It started as a puddle.
Where?
In the shower.
Uh-oh.
Then the kitchen sink.
Started backing up?
Yeah.
I know where this is going.
Clogged up.
Right. No problem.
Beg your pardon?
There's no clog we can't clear.
You're Dan.
From Apollo Plumbing.
This is going to get pricey.
How about $83?
To clear my drain?
Apollo Plumbing clears main drains every day.
For $83?
83 or it's free.
What's the catch?
No catch. We'll even do a camera inspection.
Why's that?
It's the best way to find the cause of your clog.
And it's included?
No extra charge. Truth is, we hate clogs.
I don't love them.
Seen them all.
Ew.
I promise. There's no clog Apollo can't clear.
Guaranteed.
83 or free.
Goodbye, slow drains.
All it takes is an accessible clean out.
And Apollo gets my drains draining again.
You call, we come, it's fixed.
My heroes.
Just doing our job.
Thank you, Apollo Plumbing.
ApolloPlumbing.com.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
I'm their conduit, and I'm glad to do it.
Charlie Harger and Manda Factor, Seattle's morning news.
Hey, oh, let's go.
Now, Choke Points with Chris Sullivan.
Presented by Carter Subaru.
Well, getting to the UW from eastbound 520 is changing this weekend.
Yep, a new temporary off-ramp is opening after a weekend closure, and Sully is here to tell us about it.
And this is going to make it very difficult for people going from I-5 to eastbound 520 to try to get off at Montlake, because they're going to have a little less room to do it come next Monday. The Washington Department of Transportation is opening a new temporary off-ramp to Montlake.
They are shifting the off-ramp to Montlake to a new location. And the reason why they need to do that is just to expand the work zones as we continue building this project.
If you're looking at our YouTube live feed, you could see that it's basically going to be cutting in through the middle of where the traffic is going. On that video, you could see the traffic going. Then you have that little open space. That's going to be the new temporary ramp. And then off to the right, you see the platform for them building the new Portage Bay overpass. WashDOT Steve Pierce says drivers will be exiting eastbound 520 a little sooner than they do today. Now, the ramp is actually a straighter shot to Montlake, taking drivers off the freeway, as I said, right there by the new Portage Bay platform bridge.
It is actually a little bit straighter than it is now. There's still a one-lane exit like it is now. It will be. And then once you get a little bit further up the off-ramp, it'll go into other lanes.
And even though this is a temporary ramp, it's actually a little bit bigger. You can handle a few more cars in that queuing area, so that should help up the daily backups there. It's also, we're hoping that it will really only take drivers one time through it to get it.
About 14,000 a day are exiting as they go eastbound between I-5 and Montlake. So a good percentage of people are exiting there. It's just going to be a new exit. And as usual, if we stripe it right, and we will, people will be able to use that new off-ramp.
And it's really simple, and not to be condescending, but your first time through it, just follow the car in front of you. Give yourself plenty of room.
I think the challenge might be if you're coming from northbound I-5 to eastbound 520, you'll have just a little bit less time to be able to merge to your right to get to Montlake.
Now, to make all this happen, WashDOT will be closing eastbound 520 from I-5 to the east side all weekend long. That closure starts late Friday night, will last through early Monday morning. Drivers will also not be able to access eastbound 520 from Montlake either. That entire ramp system is going to be closed down for the weekend. But that's not the last big closure for Montlake coming up this summer. We've got a doozy coming up later this summer. With the drivers on that new temporary off-ramp to Montlake as of next week, the contractor needs to tear down the old one.
If you look at it from here, you can see the existing ramp that drivers are using. That needs to be removed so that we can start shifting things around to create a work zone. So that's going to be a pretty high impact. We're looking at probably August, a 7-day closure.
Put that on the calendar. A full week-long, 7-day closure of the Montlake ramp system coming in August. that is going to have significant impact. Now, we don't know. My best guess, and I'm hoping they'll wait till after Seafair to do this. But then again, that also comes with the beginnings of, the Seahawks and things, pre-games, preseason stuff and whatnot. So we'll be watching that really, really closely. By the way, we have about 5 more years of construction between Montlake over to I-5 as they continue to finish things there. They're building 2 new bridges over the Portage Bay area there, plus that new lid over Montlake. And if you guys haven't walked up there or driven up just north of the station there, they've taken down all the vegetation there. They're really getting to work on what is going to be, a 1.5-acre lid there over the top of the freeway just above the station here.
Sully, I've seem to remember when I was a field reporter, you and I being out on the 520 bridge as it was under construction. When did this project get underway?
I could check the date for you, but it's been at least 20 years. By the time we're all said and done, because if people forget, if they've moved here and have moved to, say, Kirkland, they have no idea what 520 look like west of 405. They've widened that whole area. They've added HOV lanes there. They've added new ramps to 405. Then they moved over a little bit further to the west, did widen the freeway there through Medina and Hunts Point, and then they started building the brand new floating bridge that went across. So they had to take down the old bridge. Then they built Montlake, and they built the lid there. Now they're going to Portage Bay. They're doing it in segments, as the money comes in. But yeah, it'll be probably more than 20. Because I remember you and I sitting there kind of on I think it would have been on the Medina side, looking over the overpass, looking west as they were, maybe starting the toll or starting the bridge construction there. Yeah, but I mean, if you think about it, I know people used to laugh about, Tacoma, and I-5 in Tacoma has been under construction for 20, 25 years. And it was until they finished up about 2 years ago. Now JBLM's doing its thing. But yeah, this is more than 2 decades worth of work going over 520.
If you've never walked across it, it is a really cool walk.
I'll take your word on it. I don't want to drive that far, much less walk.
Okay, never mind.
But yeah, I've heard it's really nice, especially during the summer. And I have to wait to find out to see, because one of the selling points of the new Montlake lid was they have that new pedestrian and bike off ramp that takes you down past the old.
I used it yesterday.
Okay, past the old Mohai, right down there. We had joked when that was opening up that I think people are going to do a lot of engagement or wedding style photos there if you're UW grads, because you could sit there in the stadium is presented right behind you. I mean, it's like a perfect place to take pictures if you're UW grads and you want to get the stadium in the background. Again, you can just park there and walk that really simple distance down to that really cool off pedestrian and bike off ramp.
I had to borrow a hard hat when I was at that construction scene.
You did.
So how did that go for you?
Well, I still kind of remember the look. We didn't work at the same station, but just the look in Sully's eyes, it seared into me.
Yeah, I mean, because imagine the most ridiculous-looking small-sized hat.
Yeah.
On and it being a hard hat, too. It accentuates it. I mean, it was basically looked like it was popping off your head the whole time.
For those not in the know, Charlie has an extremely large head.
It's a size 8 1/8. I mean, big brain.
You would basically have to stick your head into a construction hat mold in order to get a hard hat that fits you.
Yeah.
And I know it's your cross to bear.
Okay, we kid because we love. It's 5:53, just ahead of our forecast. A Nexstar TV station in Alabama was hit by a tornado Monday as storms ripped through the area. WDHN in Dothan was live with severe weather coverage when that tornado hit.
We just heard a gust of wind right over the south side of our station. There's a tornado on the ground in Webb. There's a tornado on the ground in Webb. Just crossed our station as we speak. Get in your safe space. Looks like we've heard glass break.
A preliminary report from the National Weather Service rated the tornado an EF1 with wind gusts up to 110 miles an hour. Our forecast, it's going to be very pleasant around here. Mostly sunny for today, warming up to 73. We might be close to 80 for tomorrow in the sunshine. And then a big change on Friday. We'll see scattered showers rolling in. That'll keep us much cooler, only 61 Friday. But it looks like we'll be nice again for the weekend. Morning clouds both Saturday and Sunday, but some afternoon sunshine. Highs in the mid and upper 60s. Right now in Seattle, it's clear. It's getting bright. It's 51 degrees. Coming up, team coverage of the devastating chemical tank explosion that took place in Longview yesterday. Our Corwin Hake is live on the scene. Luke Ducey is on it, too. You're listening to Seattle's Morning News.
KIRO News Radio, where you turn for the news you depend on.
KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey is here with more.
24% of businesses are now thinking about leaving Washington.
Traffic.
We are definitely seeing some slowing through the S-curves.
Conversation.
We build it, we produce it, we charge for it.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
A one-hander! Are you kidding me?
Broadcasting live from the KIRO News Radio YouTube channel. KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM. KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle.
What if you could have the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? During the Xfinity Summer Savings Event, now through June 15th, new customers can get our best price on gig Wi-Fi, just $50 a month for 5 years. And get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. Plus, add one line of Xfinity Mobile Select and you can save an average of $60 a month over Verizon and AT&T. You can even try it free for a year. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities during the Xfinity Summer Savings Event. Get it now at Xfinity.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Savings based on 1 gig internet and 1 mobile select line compared to similar Verizon and AT&T plans over 5 years. After 12 months, regular rates apply to mobile select. Xfinity internet required. Speeds vary. Use of fiber coaxial cable.
Rick was experiencing some pain in his knee.
Once I retired and really just golfed constantly, I think it kind of exacerbated.
It was getting to be too much for him.
It got to the point where I just almost couldn't sleep. I wanted to try anything to avoid surgery.
So instead, he decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
Yeah, I talked to him and he said, well, Rick, it's a new knee or we do the stem cell.
Since the procedure, Rick is back doing what he loves to do.
Here I am, golfing and enjoying it.
And now it's not just his knee. Rick has had stem cell treatment for both of his shoulders, his hip, and...
He did my thumbs.
So whether it's a hip like I had or a shoulder, knee, and thumb like Rick, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. He's the most experienced in the Northwest with over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Wait! Before you change the station, listen to this.
Carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll also get a vacation voucher and a tax deduction.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Our local tax expert and advocate, Greg Nunn, understands the pressure that comes from owing money to the IRS. Don't let that pressure build. Call None Better Tax Resolution. From stress to success with IRS Solutions. Google NUNN. None Better Tax Resolution.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The Texas Senate race is set, and it will not include the incumbent, Senator John Cornyn, beaten in the GOP primary by Attorney General Ken Paxton. After Paxton picked up the endorsement of President Trump, on the other side, Democrat James Tallarico. Search teams looking for 9 people unaccounted for after the rupture of a tank holding toxic chemicals at a paper plant in Washington state. ABC's Lindsay Tuckman.
The one person confirmed dead was identified by his family as Gilbert Bernal, a grandfather whose son also worked at the mill. Efforts to find other victims have been called off because the chemicals remaining in the tank make it too volatile. The cause of the rupture? Unclear, but the Associated Press reports the company, Nippon Dynawave, has been fined recently for health and safety violations.
President Trump gathers his cabinet today as talks continue toward a possible deal with Iran. This is ABC News. In New Jersey, tensions remain high outside Delaney Hall, a federal immigration facility in Newark, where Senator Andy Kim was pepper sprayed by ICE agents on Tuesday. ABC's Phil Tate is there this morning.
About a dozen federal agents just outside of the detention center. There's a fleet of vehicles and a few protesters who are in the street. Just moments ago, a vehicle tried to make their way inside. Some folks even sitting on the sidewalk. They were trying to block that vehicle from getting inside. But this all follows what happened here just last night. Protesters clashed with federal immigration officers yet again, ending with 3 arrests.
Protesters say the conditions inside that facility, which is privately run, are abhorrent, including the distribution of rotten food to detainees. New York Knicks fans won't be getting into the Garden cheap to see their team play in its first NBA Finals this century. So far, the least expensive tickets we could find online came in at around $2,000. I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
At 6:02, here's what's happening. The death toll could rise at a Longview paper mill, where 9 workers are still accounted for after a chemical tank ruptured yesterday. We have team coverage with KIRO Newsradio's Corwin Hake and Luke Ducey.
A homicide investigation is underway in Seattle's Madison Park. Officers found a man dead in a parking lot Sunday with significant trauma. Police say they have no suspect information.
And if you live in unincorporated Snohomish County, your car tabs could soon cost more. Public Works is proposing a new $20 fee to help close a $30 million roads budget cap. The county council takes it up again in August.
Just about 6:03 and time for a check on traffic. We do that every 10 minutes on the 3s for you. Chris Sullivan is watching things.
It's not too bad as we start our day. A little yellow on the map here and there. If you're coming up the Valley Freeway, you're going to see brake lights kind of right there at Sumner, a little bit in Auburn, a little bit at the north end. 40 minutes to go from Puyallup up to Renton. Renton to Bellevue is under 20. Northbound I-5 Olympia, we're looking at about a 40-minute trip up to Tacoma. We're seeing brake lights again through the Lacey area. Reminder, the DuPont gate to JBLM remains closed. Yesterday was a tough day. Today's day 2. Let's see if people made alternate plans. Looking at Federal Way to Seattle, under 40. Coming down from the north end, we're seeing a little braking in Marysville, a little bit across the trestle, but overall about a 40-minute trip or less from Everett to Seattle or Everett to Bellevue. This report brought to you by Seattle Sports. You can always listen to your favorite local sports content on the FM dial, 97.3 HD2.
Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and MyNorthwest.com.
Live from Eastlake Avenue.
You're listening to Charlie Harger and Manda Factor, Seattle's morning news.
Good morning. It's 6:03. One person is confirmed dead after a major industrial accident in Longview. 9 remain missing at the site of that chemical tank implosion near the Columbia River.
We have team coverage this morning. First, KIRO News Radio's Corwin Hake joins us live from the scene.
And Manda and Charlie, no one is saying the 9 missing are presumed dead, but emergency efforts here at Nippon Dynawave Packaging have been deemed a recovery operation since soon after the implosion 7:15 yesterday morning. Meanwhile, although emergency responders say there is no direct threat to the surrounding community, some 90,000 gallons of chemicals remaining in the imploded tank are hampering ongoing recovery efforts, as we hear from Cowlitz 2 Fire and Rescue Chief Scott Goldstein.
We believe that there could be a potential of 90,000 gallons remaining in that tank. The tank remains unstable, creating a dangerous situation for our personnel. Crews are actively assessing the structural integrity of that tank and working on plans to stabilize that tank before additional recovery operations can safely proceed.
Now, in addition to the one fatality and the 9 persons still missing, casualties here at the site include 10 persons transported to hospitals for chemical burns and other injuries, some of them critical. Live in Longview, Corwin Hake, KIRO News Radio.
Thank you, Corwin. And I'm Luke Ducey now with continuing coverage with more on what they make at that Longview mill. What are the chemicals that actually spilled, reportedly, known as white liquor, and a vigil held last night in Longview. Let's start with photos reportedly from ground zero of this massive implosion. Check them out on our YouTube feed. Sent to us from the scene. Vehicles smashed and flipped over. There is a massive tank, it appears, that looks like it has collapsed. Perhaps that is the tank that we're talking about. This is a massive plant, the size of more than 200 football fields, that basically converts wood chips into paperboard, which is then used to make billions of items like the milk and juice cartons you're using this morning for breakfast, paper cups, food containers, but also tissue paper, the paper that you're going to use in your printer later on today, wrapping paper for gifts, and a lot more. This so-called white liquor chemical that spilled in the plant is used to break down those wood chips. So it is nasty, nasty stuff. A mix of sodium hydroxide, sulfide, sodium carbonate. It's highly corrosive. It looks like more than 800,000 gallons of white liquor leaked. That's enough to fill 1.2 Olympic-size swimming pools. Think about that. That's a lot of liquid that spilled on that ground there. Between 2019 and last year, let's talk about violations of the plant now. The company that owns the plant, which is based in Tokyo, has been cited 4 times for safety violations for things like not protecting workers from falling off equipment, not requiring face masks during the pandemic, and there was an incident where an employee had a finger amputated. Also, there have been 2 L&I investigations into the company. One of those was opened just 2 months ago after an anonymous complaint about a valve on a tank holding ammonia. There was also a complaint about a drain that reportedly failed and created a sinkhole there at that plant, according to L&I. And then last night in downtown Longview, there was a vigil held for those workers who were killed or injured. Here's organizer and former mayor of Longview, Spencer Boudreau, on KIRO 7 TV.
You know, when anything happens down at the mills, we all know somebody affected. You know, this is probably the worst job site disaster we've had here ever.
An absolute tragedy again. 9 workers are still missing. Today is a recovery effort. Charlie, Manda.
Luke Ducey reporting live. It's 6:07.
Keeping you informed since 1974. This is the city's longest-running radio news show.
Seattle's Morning News on KIRO News Radio.
Nice sunny start to your Wednesday morning, May 27th. Charlie and Manda here with you today.
It's going to be a beautiful couple of days. Chris Sullivan is here keeping an eye on traffic, and producer David Burbank is with us in the studio.
And, of course, we have KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey. He's in the newsroom today. We will be following all aspects of this situation in Longview. Just an absolute tragedy of great proportions happening to our south. This hour of Seattle's Morning News is sponsored by American Crawl Space and Pest Control.
Coming up this hour, big victory for President Trump and the GOP as Texas voters decided who will move along to the general election there. We're going to check in with ABC's Jim Ryan in Dallas.
Well, so look at the forecast ahead of summer. We'll hear from meteorologist Scott Sistek.
It's 6:08. The King County Regional Homelessness Authority says it's beginning to recover some of the nearly $13 million flagged in a recent audit. We get the update from KIRO 7 TV's Brandon Thompson.
Of the more than $4 million an audit found was overspent, $1.5 million was found. Of the $8 million the audit author says is missing, $1 million was found.
The corrected plan is their best shot.
King County Council member Reagan Dunn.
In the meantime, that agency should do the very best it can to get contracts out the door with appropriate supervision.
Dunn voted to create the RHA 7 years ago, but after the audit, he has sponsored legislation to end it completely.
Seattle Council member Dan Strauss is pushing 3 ideas to save Ballard Light Rail, which voters approved in 2016. They've been paying for it ever since.
Strauss wants to redirect money from a second downtown tunnel project to build a Westlake to Ballard starter line. He also wants to allow Sound Transit to use more of its legal debt capacity to deliver projects faster. And he wants to require the agency to release a clear timeline for Ballard Light Rail.
I haven't been quiet. I haven't been shy. Sound Transit needs a plan to get to Ballard.
He says anything less is unacceptable. The Sound Transit Board is expected to vote on Thursday. Frank Lindsay, KIRO News Radio.
A Seattle City Council member is calling on the mayor to activate security cameras near stadiums before next month's World Cup events. Rob Saka is vice chair of the Public Safety Committee.
Waiting for a purported credible threat before activating those tools is far too reactive. For an event of this magnitude, we're failing to meet the moment.
The mayor has held off on activating the cams, saying they'll be turned on only if there is a credible threat. Saka argues the technology could deter potential attacks as crowds grow. We have reached out to the mayor's office for comment.
If you live in unincorporated Snohomish County, you could soon pay more to renew your car tabs. Snohomish County Public Works Director Kelly Snyder tells KIRO 7 TV they're proposing a new $20 fee to help close a $30 million annual roads budget gap.
They're wanting to make sure that the stop sign that fell down during that storm is put back up. They want to be able to get to work when it snows out, so we want to get out there and plow. They want to make sure that they aren't going to drive into an area that's flooded.
She says the fee would bring in about $6 million each year to maintain roads and bridges. The county council has delayed a vote with more discussion expected later in the summer.
Seattle police investigating a double shooting in Seattle's Central District last night that left a man and woman seriously hurt. Officers were called about 10 o'clock to the 100 block of Boren Avenue, found a man shot in the abdomen, a woman shot in the upper thigh. Both are at Harborview in serious condition. The suspect took off, and detectives with the Gun Violence Reduction Unit are now leading the case.
Seattle Sounder headed to the World Cup. The U.S. men's national team announced midfielder Christian Roldan is in the final 26-player roster.
A bunch of different emotions came to me. Number one, excitement. This is something I've been waiting for a very long time. A dream come true.
It is the second straight World Cup for him. He also made the squad in Qatar in 2022. Roldan and Team USA will be in Seattle to face Australia June 19th.
Well, the Mariners kept it rolling last night, beating the Athletics 4-1 Game 2 of the series in Sacramento. Star of the game was M's pitcher Emerson Hancock.
Hancock ready. He deals. Swung on, hard hit right to JP on two hops at short. Underhand toss to second. Cole Young stomps on the bag, and that's it for the A's in the sixth. Emerson Hancock, excellent night against the A's. Scoreless, 6 innings on 1 hit. He was brilliant.
Seattle will look for the sweep this afternoon. Logan Gilbert on the mound for the M's. First pitch 12:05, and you can listen on our sister station 710 Seattle Sports.
All right, it's 6:12. Time to get a check on the weather. Nick Allard joins us, and it's a nice sunny start to the day, Nick.
It really is beautiful. I mean, a couple of places have a tiny bit of, some fog or low cloud cover, but I don't expect that to last. We're going to see sunshine today, and we'll have temps getting into the low 70s in Seattle, about 70 in Everett, about 77, 78 in Olympia, and about 80 in Centralia. Tomorrow, it's the same idea. Very patchy low clouds, very patchy fog, and then about 78, 79 in Seattle, and plenty of spots in the 80s. But overnight, it does get a little stormy in the Cascades, even late, and even east of the Cascades. And it gets very windy in central and eastern Washington Thursday night. So some of that moisture could push over our area overnight into early Friday. And either way, I think you wake up to at least some rain showers Friday, and we drop down with some blustery weather into the low 60s for daytime highs, with some rain decreasing, but still some rain around. Morning clouds, afternoon sun Saturday and Sunday. So if you're going to the Gorge, I know a lot of people went for concerts last weekend. And if you're going this weekend, you're going to try to get moving early because I think security was a real thing. If you're going Thursday night, it's going to be very windy and very stormy, but it gets a lot better throughout the day Friday, and then you see sunshine the rest of the weekend.
All right. Thanks so much, Nick. Right now in Seattle, it's sunny and 51.
And it's 6:13. That's time for traffic. We do that every 10 minutes for you. Well, what do you have for us, Sully?
Well, we're running 10 minutes behind schedule on northbound I-5, trying to get from Lacey up through JBLM. The assumption is this is because the DuPont gate is closed to JBLM for construction. Yesterday was a very tough day. Today it's kind of shaping up the same way. Already 45 minutes from Olympia to Tacoma as you struggle up past JBLM. After that, it's not too bad of a drive the rest of the way on up into and through Tacoma. And then you have brake lights in Federal Way up through South Center, but nothing yet at the north end. We've got 40 minutes from Federal Way to Seattle. Looking at brake lights on eastbound 512 into the South Hill, a little bit on 410, trying to get to 167 out of Sumner, and then Puyallup to Renton's running about 40 minutes. spots. The rented to Bellevue drives under 20. The brake lights in the S-curves are active, but not overly so. Across the lake, no problems. Coming down from the north end, a little slowing in Marysville. A little bit across the trestle, but definitely picking up the brake lights in Canyon Park on 405 and on southbound 5 around 145th. Give yourself over 40 minutes from Everett to Seattle or Everett to Bellevue. KIRO News Radio Real-Time Traffic, I'm Chris Sullivan.
For more than 50 years, the voice Seattle trusts. This is Seattle's Morning News on KIRO News Radio.
Well, a fierce primary battle in Texas last night as two Republican candidates for senator matched up to see who would represent the GOP in November's general election.
As a backdrop to all this, President Trump made it clear which Republican had his support. Let's break it down now. ABC News correspondent Jim Ryan joins us from Dallas. Jim, we are thrilled to have you this morning here on KIRO News Radio.
Thrilled to be here, Amanda. Great to talk to you again. Yes, I don't think there was a great surprise that Ken Paxton actually defeated John Cornyn, but the margin is what people are looking at here this morning. A 28 percentage point margin between Ken Paxton and John Cornyn. Was that because of President Trump's endorsement? Possibly, but I think Trump also was reading the tea leaves last week before he made his endorsement, saw that Ken Paxton was likely to defeat the incumbent Cornyn. And so this is where it shakes out now. Going into November, it'll be Ken Paxton representing the GOP as the potentially the next senator from Texas.
Okay, who is Ken Paxton, Jim?
He is the Texas Attorney General. A very checkered past, I guess you could say. He brings a lot of baggage into this race. He was impeached because of ethical issues, impeached by the Republican-controlled Texas House of Representatives. The Texas Senate then decided not to impeach him, and so he wasn't impeached. More recently, he divorced his wife. His wife divorced him, actually, on what she said were biblical grounds. And a lot of the campaign ads that John Cornyn had pointed those foibles out about Ken Paxton. So, yeah, he does bring with him a lot of baggage, and the GOP is going to have to try to overcome that.
What can you tell us about his opponent in November, James Tallarico?
Tallarico's been in the Texas House for the last 8 years, 37 years old, a fairly moderate Democrat, I suppose. But he's also being cast now as the favorite of outside Democrats, people outside of Texas who are contributing to his campaign. Paxton already has pounced on that and probably will see a lot of campaign ads related to that going forward. President Trump also this morning posted on X calling James Tallarico Alfred E. Newman, the kid from Mad Magazine, saying that he's a terrible candidate, in fact, the worst candidate he's seen ever for anybody at the Senate. So, the Republicans now are lining up again behind Ken Paxton and against James Tallarico.
Jen, one of the big storylines surrounding this runoff election is the money behind the candidates. Can you break down what makes fundraising a campaign in Texas different than in other states?
Well, for the Republicans, it's a fairly easy thing to do. This is a deep red state and lots of deep pockets around here, especially the urban areas. For the Democrats, the Democrats haven't won a statewide election here in over 30 years, Manda. James Tallarico would be the first if he were able to pull it off. And so, yes, a lot of Democrats from outside the state do see that happening, and they pump money in. But of course, now before the primary, it was a three-way race between Cornyn and Ken Paxton and a guy named Wesley Hunt. Wesley Hunt was able to pull away enough of the vote that neither Paxton nor Cornyn could get to the 50% required to avoid the runoff. And so they had to pour another $1 million or so into the runoff campaign. So all told, this will go down as the most expensive primary in U.S. history at about $130 million.
Whew. Can you tell us what kind of impact a race like this will have on the midterms coming up?
Well, yeah, it's going to have a big impact. I think that it may energize the Democrats, at least here in Texas. They may see this as their one chance to try to take back the Senate. There could be others looking at it around the country, too. And you mentioned fundraising there, Amanda. So the Republicans will have to spend a lot of money that they would have spent in other races in Georgia, for example, where they were hoping to flip a blue seat to red. But they'll have to spend money here in Texas instead of doing that. And I think if Paxton loses, President Trump may have to take the blame for that.
All right, ABC correspondent Jim Ryan joining us for the first time on KIRO. Welcome to KIRO, Jim. Love having you with us.
Thanks, Charlie.
We'll talk to you again. Thanks, Jim. It's now 6:19. Well, the U.S. and Iran are trying to avoid reigniting the war while Israel is ramping up its attacks in the Middle East. We get the update from News Nation's Robert Sherman.
Israeli forces are expanding their operations over in Lebanon. What we saw over the last 24 hours, an intensification of airstrikes, over 100 targets being hit. This was certainly one of the most active days that we've seen since that ceasefire went into effect on April 17th, and it's only expected to expand from here. What we saw today, smoke billowing from southern Lebanon, with Israel just within the last hour issuing a new round of evacuation orders. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says it won't just be an intensification of airstrikes, but the buffer zone on the ground, the troops operating on Lebanese soil, will push deeper into Lebanon, as what we have seen since April 17th has been Hezbollah continuing to target Israel with rockets and drones. Security sources here in the region say that over 1,000 rockets have been fired by Hezbollah since April 17th, and Israel's position is enough is enough. But the flare-ups are not just happening west of us. They've also been happening here in the Gulf, especially after U.S. forces carried out what they described as self-defense strikes on Iran, boats that they said were laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz, as well as missile launch sites as well. That has certainly injected a degree of tension that exists here in the region, with Iran's Navy coming out and saying this, quote, "The possibility of war is actually low because of the enemy's weakness, but the armed forces are lying in wait. They have threatened retaliation. So far, we have not seen it." But despite all these tensions that we're tracking here in the region, diplomacy is pushing forward. Much of it is happening where we are in Doha, which has become the epicenter of these negotiations. We've had Iranian delegations here for the last couple of days. Qatar's Emir has been speaking with the president of Iran and the leadership of the Gulf states. So the conversations are still happening. But as you can imagine, all elements of this, very fragile.
News Nation's Robert Sherman.
A man was killed in a head-on crash. This is after he allegedly fled a hit-and-run in South Snohomish County.
Deputies responded to a crash near the intersection of Broadway Avenue and U Way around 10:40 Monday night, where they found a 55-year-old man dead. Authorities believe he had hit a Ford Mustang near 180th Street Southeast, just west of Broadway Avenue, and kept going, eventually crossing into oncoming traffic and colliding with another car head-on. The driver of that vehicle suffered just minor injuries. Frank Lenzi, KIRO Newsradio.
A high-profile immigration lawyer in Tukwila has given up her law license rather than face a disciplinary hearing. The Seattle Times reports Alexandra Lozano surrendered her license yesterday, just as the Washington State Bar Association was preparing its misconduct case. The move is permanent. She can't practice law anywhere in the country now. 9 former clients sued her this month, calling her services fraudulent.
A Port Angeles man is behind bars accused of a double murder from 2008 in Concord, North Carolina. Police say 43-year-old Johnny Talbert gunned down an office manager and job applicant during a robbery at the Sundrop Bottling Company. Scott Padgett, who was the Concord mayor in 2008, tells WSOC-TV it's going to take a few days for it to sink in that the case has been solved.
Whoever it was just disappeared. I never heard anything. For years, people would ride by and just think of that. Yeah. How did that happen?
Talbert, who was arrested 14 times in Port Angeles since 2011, is being held in the Clallam County Jail without bail as he awaits extradition.
It's 6:23. That's time for a check on traffic now. And for that, we turn it over to Chris Sullivan.
And we're looking at a standard Wednesday. The exception to that is northbound I-5 trying to get through Lacey, up through Nisqually and into DuPont. The DuPont gate to JBLM remains closed for construction. And we're looking at 45 minutes from Olympia to Tacoma. That's a 10-minute delay over what you might expect. Brake lights begin right around the Cabela's and just kind of extend all the way up past that area. After that, it's not too bad the rest of the way on up through Tacoma and up into Federal Way. Federal Way to Seattle, starting to see a little bit more braking, a little over 40 minutes on that trip. Valley Freeway, 45 now. It is really slow from 180th on up at this particular moment. Also seeing brake lights in Auburn. Westbound 410's also still struggling trying to get over to the 167 corridor. Renton to Bellevue, still under 20 minutes, so that's that's not bad. The Lake Bridges are still in very good shape, and we're 45 minutes plus to go from Everett to Seattle or Bellevue. Brake lights in Linwood, southbound 405, and for I-5, it's from 145th on down. This report brought to you by the KIRO Newsradio App. Text app to 888-973-5476. Download the KIRO Newsradio App. Listen to your favorite shows. Get the latest news and updates sent right to your phone.
Sunshine today, a high of 73 in Seattle, 77 the forecast high tomorrow. On Friday, that looks to be the rainiest day of the week so far, with highs in the low 60s. Right now in Seattle, it's 51.
Coming up, we continue our coverage of the tragic implosion at a chemical plant in Longview. Corwin Hake and Luke Ducey have the latest. We'll also get to your opening bell report here on Seattle's Morning News.
Well, we have a busy summer in front of us at our house, and we've been doing a lot of organizing, and it's really amazing when everything seems to come together. I want to tell you about my room that I use as a home office. It's also our spare bedroom. We got a wall bed from Closets by Design and a custom desk installed. It frees up so much room in that spare bedroom. It feels like we can just kind of stretch out. Our dogs hang out next to me as I'm writing a commentary in the afternoon. It's all custom built by Closets by Design. They do so much more than just closets, laundry rooms, entertainment centers, mudrooms, everything. All custom built in Kent, designed for your home. They send a designer out. They design it with you at your place. Nothing's off a shelf. Nothing is pre-made. And right now, for a limited time, you can get 40% off plus an additional 15% off, 18 months, 0% financing on approved credit if paid in full. So here's what you want to do. Go to closetsbydesign.com or give them a call, 1-800-BY-DESIGN, and get your project started today.
Say goodbye to clogged gutters and climbing ladders. With K-Guard by Guardian, leaves stay out, water flows freely, and your home stays protected year-round. Enjoy true peace of mind, no maintenance and no rust. Choose from a variety of colors to match your home's look and boost your curb appeal. Ready for hassle-free gutters? Protect what matters most with Guardian, the original Make Your Roof Last company. Visit GuardianRoofing.com to learn more.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Support comes from Amazon Business. You can't rely on guesswork to run your business. With Smart Business Buying, innovative AI tools optimize your purchasing experience, paired with delivery options built for business. Empower your team today. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
So, what are you reading?
I'm checking out the ratings on the new TVs, and it looks like Samsung, LG, and Sony got the best scores.
Just like last year. What about those new high dynamic range TVs?
They got the highest scores of all, but their prices are really high.
Did you check online?
Yeah, their prices were about the same.
Well, there's one place where we can get a hot deal on those top-rated models.
Where?
At Video Only. Check out the ratings on TV stores.
I see. Video Only scored better than the others.
So, if you want the best deal on the best TVs,
then we should take our TV ratings and head over to top-rated Video Only.
At Video Only, you won't find huge stores with refrigerators or microwaves, but you will find the best deals on top-rated TVs, soundbars, and monitors. Shop around. Just make sure you visit Video Only, because if you don't,
you'll be sorry.
In South Center, Bellevue, Linwood, Federal Way, and Tacoma, Video Only.
Under these arches, opposing teams are put to the test. Can they hear themselves over the boom of the 12s? Can they withstand the Seattle elements? Can they compete against us?
Touchdown! Seahawks!
This city lives for Sunday. Get your tickets for Seahawks game days at Lumen Field and experience what this city lives for. Visit Seahawks.com today.
Guys, it's Men's Health Month at Revive Washington. Start treatment and get a free comprehensive wellness panel, a $400 value. Check testosterone, blood sugar, cholesterol, and more. Offer ends June 30th. Call 206-529-1111 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Spring cleaning isn't just for your house, it's for your life. If your job is getting old, it's time to clear the clutter and spring into IT. Go to My Computer Career.
My Computer Career helped me get the skills and certifications I needed to start a new life as an IT professional in months, not years.
Earn the certifications the top employers are looking for right now. Visit mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation to see if it's time to spring into IT. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and MyNorthwest.com.
Live from Eastlake Avenue.
You're listening to Charlie Harger and Manda Factor, Seattle's morning news.
Good morning, it's 6:30. Emergency responders in Longview are facing a much more dangerous situation than they originally believed after a chemical tank implosion yesterday left 1 dead and 9 missing.
We get the update now from KIRO News Radio's Corwin Hake live at the scene. Corwin?
Guys, yesterday when I first spoke to Cowlitz Fire and Rescue Chief Scott Goldstein, he believed the tank that ruptured here at Dynawave Packaging originally held a relatively small 80,000 gallons of the toxic paper-making chemical known as white liquor. Now he knows differently.
That information has been modified, and it is now approximately a 900,000 gallon tank of that white liquor process. After evaluations midday, we believe that there could be a potential of 90,000 gallons remaining in that tank.
That ruptured tank, Goldstein maintains there is no danger to the general public, but he says there is an acute risk to members of the recovery team still searching for 9 missing workers. No cause for this implosion has yet been made public. According to first responders, efforts today are focused on safely accessing all affected areas of this facility, recovering those workers missing and presumed dead, and supporting the victims' families. Live in Longview, Corwin Hake, KIRO News Radio.
Thank you, Corwin. And I'm Luke Ducey here in Seattle. A vigil was held last night in downtown Longview for the 9 workers still missing and that 1 worker who has died. The organizer and former mayor of Longview, Spencer Boudreau, talked with KIRO 7 TV.
You know, when anything happens down at the mills, we all know somebody affected. You know, this is probably the worst job site disaster we've had here ever.
If you're watching on our YouTube feed this morning, we have photos reportedly from ground zero of this massive implosion. Vehicles smashed and flipped over in these photos. It's a very large area impacted. It appears there is a massive tank that appears to have collapsed. We don't know if that is the tank, but it sure does look like a massive tank there. This is a massive plant we're talking about, the size of 200 football fields that basically converts wood chips into paperboard, which is then used to make billions of items like the milk and juice cartons on your breakfast table right now, paper cups, food containers, tissue paper, printer paper, and wrapping paper, much, much more as well. This so-called white liquor that Corwin talked about, that chemical that's spilled in the plant is used to break down those wood chips. That's how powerful and corrosive it is. It looks like more than 800,000 gallons of white liquor leaked. That's enough to fill 1.2 Olympic-sized swimming pools. As for why it happened, here's Governor Ferguson at the scene.
On behalf of the people of the state of Washington, I want all those individuals to know that we stand with you. We'll be here to do everything we can to help with the situation, and we'll be here as long as it takes.
The cause is still under investigation. There have also been multiple safety violations at this plant, according to state L&I records. I'm going to have much more of that coming up at the top of the hour. Amanda, Charlie.
Luke Ducey reporting live. There are new details on the efforts to allow emergency helicopter landings at Seattle Children's Hospital.
In a post on X, the hospital says a request was submitted to the city of Seattle to end oversight of helipad landings. A policy from the early 90s only lets the most critical patients fly directly in. Otherwise, helicopters land about a mile away and an ambulance finishes the trip. Seattle Children's also says it's grateful for the continued support of its Laurelhurst neighbors and the Laurelhurst Community Council.
6:33 now. Let's get a check on traffic on the threes. Here's Chris Sullivan.
And the unusual slowing that we have today is on northbound I-5, trying to make your way through Lacey, running 50 minutes from Olympia to Tacoma. Day 2 of the DuPont Gate to JBLM being closed for construction, and we're still dealing with that. So plan on 20 extra minutes to go from Olympia up to Tacoma. And then the rest of the map looks relatively normal. Federal Way to Seattle, a little over 40 minutes, about 45 now from Puyallup to Renton. Also, eastbound 512 is really heavy down South Hill, and westbound 410 is jammed up coming down out of Bonnie Lake, almost all the way from Winco over to 167. That just appears to be volume. I haven't found any crashes there along that corridor. Renton to Bellevue is about 20 minutes at this point. 45 to 50 now from Everett to Seattle or Bellevue. There's some meandering braking down towards the Mill Creek interchange, and then really away from Linwood you're going to see it, and from 145th on down. So running about 30 minutes alone out of the Linwood area. And on the Washington State Ferries, the Seattle Bremerton run, we've had some issues this morning. Only one boat running at this particular moment, and that's running behind schedule. Looks like we had a medical emergency on the Chimacum earlier this morning. I'm trying to get more information on that, but that's canceled a couple of sailings, and the Puyallup's running behind after a mechanical problem. KIRO Newsradio real-time traffic. I'm Chris Sullivan.
Our forecast, absolutely gorgeous for the next couple of days. Mostly sunny, 73 today. We'll be pushing 80 for tomorrow. Big change on Friday, staying cloudy, scattered showers, and much cooler, about 61. But it looks like we'll rebound for the weekend with morning clouds and afternoon sunshine both days. Right now in Seattle, sunny and 51.
From ABC News, Wall Street now. Investors opened this holiday-shortened week by launching the S&P 500 and NASDAQ composite to new record highs, with the NASDAQ surging over 1%. The Dow Jones, though, slipped 118 points to close at 50,462. Shares in AutoZone crumbled 9% Tuesday despite third-quarter results that beat Wall Street's estimates. Analysts on the company's quarterly call yesterday expressed concerns about AutoZone's lackluster growth overseas. Don't expect home prices to come down anytime soon. In a recent industry survey, 7 out of 10 home builders blamed the rising price of lumber, copper, and aluminum, along with the sky-high cost of getting those materials out to job sites. Here's evidence of the enduring popularity of Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. After polling customers, the U.S. Postal Service has reissued its popular Mr. Rogers stamp, one of 25 being brought back to celebrate the 4th of July. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Meta is laying off nearly 1,400 workers here in Washington.
The company listed the locations of the office buildings where layoffs will happen. There are more than 250 employees in Seattle being laid off. About 700 are being let go from the Bellevue office, plus more than 200 laid off in Redmond. And more than 230 remote workers are also laid off across Washington state. The last day for all these employees will be July 22nd.
KIRO 7 TV's Dee Sun with the story. Meta, of course, is the parent company of Facebook and Instagram. The news comes as the super yacht owned by company founder Mark Zuckerberg was spotted on Lake Union. Fox 13 Seattle reports it's unclear whether Zuckerberg is on board.
6:37 now. Tennessee has approved a $30 million state grant to support Starbucks' new corporate operations hub in Nashville. Seattle Times reports Starbucks plans to invest $100 million and hire up to 2,000 employees over the next 5 years. The move comes as Starbucks keeps its global headquarters in Seattle, at least for now, even as some business leaders worry the city's climate is pushing companies away. We've reached out to Starbucks on the Tennessee deal.
Another business owner is packing up and leaving Washington. A former Microsoft executive is moving his mapping company to Idaho. According to Jason Rantz on Seattle Red 770 AM, the founder of Cartographic is blaming Washington's business climate. Ben Rudolph says the economic environment here is making it too tough to operate.
What we're realizing is, the state is not really in a spot where it is able to help companies like mine grow.
So he's taking his business and heading east across the state border. Idaho leaders have been actively trying to recruit tech companies from the Seattle area.
A North Bend factory is shutting down. More than 100 workers could lose their jobs. Equipment maker Terex told the state in a notice last week it's closing its Ariels plant. 117 people work there. Some may be offered jobs at other locations. Layoffs start July 20th. The plant will be closed for good by the end of November.
A global luxury brand co-founded by Robert De Niro is coming to Bellevue. The Puget Sound Business Journal reports Nobu is rebranding 2 residential towers at the Avenue Bellevue development as Nobu Residences. It's the brand's first residential project in the country. A 10,000-square-foot Nobu restaurant set to follow in 2027. The Avenue Bellevue project is worth more than $1 billion.
You ever gone to Nobu?
I have not, but I know all about it.
Yeah. For my, let's just say, a milestone birthday, I went there in Las Vegas.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Pretty fancy.
Amazing. Yeah. And I'm not even a big sushi guy, but great stuff there. So I might have to go here.
Yeah, you won't have to go to Vegas.
Yeah. Taking a look at Wall Street right now, all the major indexes are up modestly. The Dow is ahead by 44 points. The NASDAQ has gained 6.5, and the NASDAQ is up 123.
A word for KIRO 7. It starts on your street, in your home, with a problem you're struggling to solve. That's where KIRO 7 Investigates comes in. They show up, they ask hard questions, they get you answers. When your story is seen, change isn't just possible, it's already happening. Watch KIRO 7 News weeknights 5 to 6:30 p.m. and at KIRO7.com/investigates.
All right, Sully, what's coming up in traffic?
Well, we got a new crash in Renton, and we'll talk about the delays coming out of Lacey. We'll break it down next.
The opening bell is brought to you by Legacy Group Capital Common Sense Lending.
KIRO News Radio, where you turn for the news you depend on.
KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey is here with more.
24% of businesses are now thinking about leaving Washington.
Traffic.
We are definitely seeing some slowing through the S-curves.
Conversation.
We build it, we produce it, we charge for it.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
A one-hander! Are you kidding me?
Broadcasting live from the KIRO News Radio YouTube channel. KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Will?
When I was 50, my whole life fell apart. I lost my job, I lost my wife, I lost the house, I lost pretty much everything except for my life. When the IRS came calling, I just didn't have it in me. I felt like Wile E. Coyote, just waiting for that IRS anvil to drop.
Then Will found tax relief advocates.
I heard their advertisement on the radio, I wrote down the number, and I made the call that changed everything. The IRS gave me a bill for $40,000. Tax Relief Advocates got that down to $3,200. I've paid 9 cents on the dollar. Now that's a great deal in anybody's book.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Will did and call TRA for a consultation.
But for me, the real win is I got my life back.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-488-2578. 800-488-2578. That's 800-488-2578.
Nick, you know what's a great thing about going to Longevity Medical Clinic as a couple?
Oh, I absolutely do. When they tell you to do something, you actually do it.
Right. And the same thing with you. When they tell you to do it, because for some reason, when I tell you to do it, you're like, whoa.
I just walk away and roll my eyes.
Exactly. But the great thing about Longevity Medical Clinic, the doctors there know, because we do the blood draw and they look and they can see, they know, they hold us accountable.
Yeah, when I'm under pressure and I know I'm coming in, I know I have to work the program.
Right. Plus, we also want to hold each other accountable for how we take care of ourselves because, we want to have a long, healthy, happy life.
I know. I want every day to torture you as long as I possibly can.
Well, I look forward to it. Here's the great thing about Longevity Medical Clinic. They're working with you. They're holding you accountable because they want you to have a long, healthy, happy life. I was a patient at Longevity long before I started doing these commercials. So get your free health analysis. Go to lmclinic.com. That's lmclinic.com.
Step inside and let the excitement take you places. This is Muckleshoot Casino Resort, the ultimate spot for action that reaches incredible heights, luxury that knows no bounds, and live entertainment that always thrills. It's all at one incredible destination. So when you look for the best, look nowhere else. Muckleshoot Casino Resort, the biggest and best in the Northwest.
6:43 now. Traffic on the threes with Sully.
And the reason we're so slow getting away from 167 on northbound 405 in Renton is we've been dealing with a crash in the left lane right around the Maple Valley Highway 169 as it comes on. So that's one of the reasons why we're getting closer to a half an hour to make the drive from Renton to Bellevue. But primarily it's added a lot more traffic congestion northbound 167 from 180th on in. You add that to the heavy stuff in Auburn, and we're already almost 50 minutes from Puyallup to Renton. Westbound 410 still struggling out of Bonnie Lake coming down from Winco into Sumner. That just appears to be volume. Same with eastbound 512 as you work your way through Puyallup. Northbound I-5's very heavy from the Lacey area, basically right around Cabela's all the way up through DuPont. Reminder, the DuPont gate to JBLM remains closed. 50 minutes on that drive from Olympia to Tacoma is plus 20 at this point. Federal Way to Seattle, 45 minutes. Coming down from the north end, over 50 from Everett to Seattle or Bellevue. Brake lights there in the normal places. Westbound across the Trestles, a little slow. 204 down the hills, it's normal self. Little braking in Marysville on southbound 5, right around the main interchange there. Other than that, we're okay. KIRO Newsradio Real-Time Traffic, I'm Chris Sullivan.
And our forecast mostly sunny today and tomorrow. Low 70s today, upper 70s tomorrow. Big change on Friday as the rain returns. Right now in Seattle, it's sunny and 51.
In fact, we'll have a look at the extended weather forecast for the beginning of summer. We'll check in with meteorologist Scott Sistek, coming up next on Seattle's Morning News.
Spring is the perfect time to make improvements that protect and add value to your home. Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. For decades, homeowners across the Pacific Northwest have trusted our team for roofing, siding, windows, and custom decking. This spring, save up to $3,000, or qualified homeowners can take advantage of zero down, zero payments, and zero interest up to 24 months. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule your free estimate.
The Harnish Auto Family Super Sale is happening right now. The cost of living has gone up, but when buying a car, it doesn't have to feel like it. Zero down delivers, no payments all summer, and exclusive 10-day deals in partnership with Tapco Credit Union. With a wide selection of new vehicles and over 400 used vehicles across 5 dealerships, you'll find just what you're looking for. Visit Subaru, Volkswagen, and Chevy Buick GMC of Puyallup or Kia and Chevy of Everett. Harnish Auto Family. People matter.
Offers available OAC on select models. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
You could sleep through the night without thinking twice. You could take a seat in the middle of the theater. You could drive without worry of where the next restroom is. You used to say yes, and somewhere along the way, you stopped. Not because of one big moment, because of 100 small ones. A little more urgency, one more trip to the bathroom at 2 a.m., one more mental note about where the restroom is. It happened slowly enough that it just became you. But it's not you. It's enlarged prostate, and there's a treatment called aquablation therapy, the only ultrasound-guided robotic-assisted therapy for enlarged prostate. Find an aquablation therapist near you. Call Aquablation Seattle at 206-666-2466, 206-666-2466. That's 206-666-2466. All surgical treatments carry risks, and results may vary. Side effects may include urinary symptoms, mild pain, ejaculatory dysfunction, or infection. In rare cases, complications to the urethra and rectum may occur. Aquablation therapy may not be right for everyone. Talk to your urologist to learn more. Visit aquablationseattle.com.
30 years ago, Davis Law Group was founded to be the best law firm for our clients and our community. Our core values are to win, help, and serve. It means our success is defined by the difference we make in our clients' lives and the impact we can have in our community. Not by giant settlement checks or shiny offices. Our mission to lift up the vulnerable extends beyond the courtroom to our charity partners, promoting safety, uplifting students, accident victims, foster youth, and the elderly. If you've been injured and want better results for your claim and for all of Washington, call Davis Law Group today.
Hear it live, stream it online, watch the show, or catch the podcast anytime.
Seattle's Morning News, wherever you are.
On Wednesday mornings, we check in with meteorologist Scott Sistek from the Emerald City Weather blog, emeraldcityweather.com. Good morning, Scott. Let's first of all talk about where we're headed. I see some 7s in the forecast the next couple days.
Yeah, I might even see an 8 a little bit later in there. But yeah, it's like sort of like a forecast that's got something for everybody. If you want some rain, we've got that. If you're itching for some more sun and warmth, we've got that too. And first up is the warmth. It'll be really nice today, very comfortable, low to mid 70s for today, pretty much right in that area where everybody's happy. And then maybe even push upper 70s tomorrow. There's a little bit of a chance we might hit 80. Lower chance.
No promises.
No promises. Let's go with upper 70s is the official number, but maybe an 80. And then for those of you who are like, no, wait, this is too warm. I miss my gray. Then your day's Friday. We will have some showers move through here and much cooler temperatures back in the 60s. And then it's like a gradual warm back up through the weekend and into next week. And then next week's looking a little warm at times too.
So is this the time of year where we finally start having the pattern where it is a lot of sun and not quite as cold, not this, back and forth between sun and rain, where we just kind of mellow out around here?
I think we're getting close. That's what we always joke about. July 5th is kind of the start of where it's like, okay, we just take the rain pretty much out of the forecast for 8 weeks. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting close. I got in trouble over the week before the weekend because I had joked about Memorial Day kind of being the unofficial start to summer. And everybody was like, no, Scott, it's July 5th. It's July 5th. And it's like, I know that. I was joking. But it touched a nerve. I was surprised. Everybody's like, no, July 5th, July 5th. But I would say we are definitely trending in that direction. Like we still have some rain in the forecast on Friday. There'll probably be some dips. Once we kind of warm up a little bit, then we get the marine push cools us down. Now it's starting to be dried. We don't have to get the rain to cool off anymore. And that'll be the case next week. So that's sort of part of the transition getting into our summer. And then I would say probably around July 5th, another month or so. Then rain's pretty much going to be really rare until we get back into September and October.
So warmer and mild around this part of the country, but in other parts of the country, this is where things really start to get a little spicy in terms of the weather. What are we just looking like in terms of a general pattern?
Well, we're starting to get into the severe, we've kind of been in, but we're getting into the heart of the severe weather season in the Midwest. And you think about it, we still, up until now, have kind of had lingering cold from the winter, starting to mix with some really intense, heat patterns and that summer gets going. The Gulf of Mexico's heating up, the South is heating up. You're getting those classic battles between the cold in the north mixing with the warm in the south as soon as you get east of the divide. So once you start going east of Denver, every time you have a system here, anytime we get weather on the West Coast, a lot of times you got to think, well, where's that storm going after it goes to here? Well, it's going over to get mixed into that mess, that, cold, plus warm battle in the Midwest. And now you're adding some moisture from what that just went through here. So like the little system we had over Memorial Day, that's going to go head over there. This other system we've got tomorrow, and not tomorrow, but later this week is going to, eventually probably stir up some chaos back there. So we are definitely getting into it. I know there's been some chatter of like maybe a really good severe weather pattern kind of coming up for them as we get into June here. I feel like it's early for that sort of thing. It's tough to forecast that stuff 2-3 days in advance, much less 2-3 weeks in advance. But I know a lot of people are kind of eyeing like, specifics are tough, but we're starting to see some like, cold versus warm pattern. We've got some moisture mixed in and it's a kind of a volatile mix. So I know everybody's kind of like, got their eyebrows up, but for us out here, it's nothing of any concern. All that stuff's like, already past us. It's gone. We don't have to worry about any of it. But as those of us, it's like, I always joke just watching this every day. It's like you grab your popcorn and be like, ooh, wow, that's going to be interesting. But not much for here. But yeah, definitely could be some interesting times out there.
All right, Scott, I will also ask you about this. You are a big fan of the Silvertips. We have listeners who text us just about every day talking about how great they're doing. You got to go see them play over the weekend. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we just got back from Kelowna last night, and it was my first time up there, and they looked great. It was a great experience. Watching hockey in Canada is another level of experience, and most of the fans there were from Kelowna, and they have their Rockets, which the Silvertips play, are one of our rivals. And they were cheering the Silvertips as being, buddies for the Western Hockey League. And it was just an amazing experience. We got to watch some teams from the eastern parts of Canada, from Quebec and Ontario. And it was just nirvana. And the Tips did great on both games. They won on Saturday. They were close until the end on Monday against the team that's probably favored to win it all. And it's just a big honor for them to be in the Memorial Cup. I think this is their first time they've ever made it. And this is like the highest of the highest honor. This is like junior hockey or Western Hockey League, Canadian Hockey League. This is the biggest prize, their Super Bowl, if you will. So it's been great. It's a great team. It's a fun team to watch. And it was an amazing experience. And I'm so glad we got to go. Because I figured when you get to go see the Silvertips in the Memorial Cup. So
there you go. Well, I'm glad you had a good time. We can cheer those guys on as well. Go Tips, right?
I'll have my jersey on later today. I'm sure they play Kelowna later tonight.
All right. Meteorologist Scott Sistek, EmeraldCityWeather.com. Scott, have a great week. We'll check in with you next week.
Sounds great. Thanks, Charlie.
Watching hockey live is so fun. Those tips games are a hoot.
Well, imagine what it must be like in Canada.
In Kelowna, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Rabid fans love it. Well, go Tips.
Yep, it's 6:53. That's time for a check on traffic. We do that every 10 minutes on the threes. What's new, Sully?
Well, we're getting closer to an hour to make that drive from Olympia into Tacoma. 25-minute delays. Bumper to bumper from the Cabela's all the way up through DuPont. The DuPont gate to JBLM remains closed for construction. Going to be that way for 2 weeks. And so yesterday was bad. Today it doesn't look like many people got the memo, or there just aren't many other options to get around. So that's your situation there. Once you get through that, it's not bad. Through Tacoma and then up to 18 isn't too bad. Federal Way to Seattle is about 45 minutes, which is right about where we should be. Eastbound 512, a little braking through Puyallup. Then Puyallup to Renton's running 50 minutes already. Heavy in Auburn, heavy at the north end part of that drive. Renton to Bellevue is about a half an hour. Still working with a crash right near the Maple Valley Highway on northbound 405. Not sure if it's cleared off to the shoulder yet or not. Across the lake, no problems coming down from the north end. Just some off and on braking in the usual places. For 5 and 405, though, I-5, it's going to be about 50 minutes from Everett to Seattle. For Everett to Bellevue, we're running right around an hour, so plus or minus right about where we should be. KIRO Newsradio Real-Time Traffic, I'm Chris Sullivan.
It'll be sunny and 73 in Seattle today. Right now, it's sunny and 51.
Coming up in the next hour, team coverage of the devastating chemical tank implosion in Longview. Our Corwin Hake is live on the scene. Luke Ducey live with us here in the studio.
At 7:15, former state AG Rob McKenna will break down all the big cases set to be decided by the U.S. Supreme Court in the coming weeks.
We love to hear from you throughout the morning. You can always check in on the Muckleshoot Casino Resort text line. That is 888-973-5476.
Also want you to check out our YouTube Live. We're at KIRO News Radio, and it's super important. Click like, subscribe. I sound like a podcaster, but it makes a big difference. So be sure to check that out. YouTube Live at KIRO News Radio. Just click like and subscribe. That'd be doing us a huge favor.
I'm just sitting around thinking about sunny and 73 today and
I know.
79 tomorrow.
There is something to be said about getting off of work at noon.
I love it.
All right, coming up, it's ABC News, followed by more of the day's top local stories. You're listening to Seattle's Morning News right here on KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. Northwest News.
Golden Crest Metals helps investors understand how physical gold and silver can be held inside qualified retirement accounts without pressure or confusion. Our team brings decades of experience in precious metals and retirement planning with a focus on clear education, straightforward pricing, and a process designed to put clients first. Why do investors choose Golden Crest Metals? Experience, transparency, and a client-first approach. Tune into The Gold Show with Kenny Michaels every Saturday at 1 p.m.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. After 15 years and over 50,000 cancellations, I can tell you with confidence, we know how to get you out of your timeshare. Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit guide absolutely free with all your options for cancellation. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-881-8686. That's 800-881-8686. 800-881-8686.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. we can help.
PettergasLaw.com.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News.
How does your roof look after this winter? Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. Spring into action today. Save $3,000 on a new roof, siding, deck, or windows. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com.
My name is Skip, and Congresswoman Marilyn Strickland helped me with my Small Business Administration loan. With her help, I was able to keep my small business open, and she can help you too. Please contact Congresswoman Marilyn Strickland's office at 360-459-8514 or visit strickland.house.gov for help. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
The Kendall Memorial Day sales event is on now at Kendall Chevrolet of Marysville. Get in on the Memorial Day deals with special APR offers and some fantastic new lease offers on new Chevy trucks and SUVs. Shop a great selection of Silverado trucks and take advantage of special 2.9% APR for up to 72 months. Now available on all new 2026 Silverado 1500 models. It's also Chevrolet Military Appreciation Month. Qualifying active duty military and veterans can receive an additional $2,000 off MSRP on all new 2026 Chevy models. Chevy, together let's drive. Kick off summer with incredible Memorial Day savings. But don't wait. These deals end Sunday the 31st. Stop by Kendall Chevrolet of Marysville today. Kendall. Let's start something great.
2.9% APR for up to 72 months with $1,475 per every $1,000 borrowed. Zero down, all financing and approved credit. Prices listed do not include taxes, title, or license. Subject to prior sales. See dealer for details. Offer expires 6/126.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. No signs of progress yet in talks between the U.S. and Iran. Days after President Trump announced a deal had been largely negotiated. The president meets with his entire cabinet later this morning. One person dead, 9 unaccounted for after a chemical tank ruptured in Washington state.
The facility, which employs about 1,000 people, makes a variety of paper goods. Officials say the 900,000-gallon tank contains white liquor, a mixture of chemicals that can burn the skin or burn the lungs if inhaled. Efforts to find other victims temporarily called off overnight because the chemicals remaining in the tank made it too volatile.
ABC's Melissa Adon. President Trump had a post this morning calling former President Joe Biden a crooked politician after Biden sued the Department of Justice. The lawsuit looking to stop the release of recordings that were central to a special counsel probe around his handling of classified documents. This is ABC News. 5 villagers among 7 who were trapped in a cave that flooded last week in Laos have been found. There's still no sign of the other 2, however, and the work is getting underway on bringing those who were found to safety. ABC's Maggie Rulli's at the foreign desk.
We do know that rescuers have been rushing this whole week to pump water out of the cave after those people initially got trapped inside when flash floods blocked their exit out. They've also been yelling for the divers, trying to find signs of life and exact locations. But they say while this cave is actually relatively small, the hardest part of this rescue is how narrow the cave is and trying to navigate these passageways.
The best young spellers in the English language are competing in the Scripps National Spelling BEE this week. The B began back in 1925, but this is the 98th competition because it was canceled during World War II. This year's champ will be the 111th because it has ended in a 2-way tie several times and an 8-way tie in 2019. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Good morning, 7:02, right here on KIRO News Radio, Seattle's Morning News. Here's what's happening.
1 person dead, 9 hurt, 9 are still missing after a chemical tank ruptured at the Nippon Dynawave paper mill in Longview. We have team coverage coming up.
Seattle police investigating a double shooting in the Central District overnight. A man and a woman are at Harborview in serious condition after being shot on Boren Avenue. The gunman got away.
Seattle Councilmember Rob Sacco wants the mayor to switch on security cameras near the stadiums before next month's World World Cup matches. The mayor's office says the cameras stay off unless there's a credible threat.
It's 7:03. Let's check in with Sully for traffic on the 3s.
And we're running way behind again today out of the Lacey area, working your way up through DuPont on northbound I-5. A reminder, the DuPont gate to JBLM is closed for construction, and we are looking at about an hour drive now from Olympia to Tacoma. That is about 15 to 20 minutes behind schedule. Really heavy backup, about 7 miles worth of it. Yesterday and today kind of looked like a get-back day on a Sunday afternoon. For those of you who've ever driven that stretch on a Sunday, that's pretty much what you're getting right now up to Tacoma. Once you're through that, the rest of the map looks relatively normal. We've got 45 minutes from Federal Way to Seattle, about 50 from the Puyallup area into Renton. That's with brake lights in the usual suspect locations. The crash we had on northbound 405 right there over the Maple Valley Highway is off to the far right-hand side by the off-ramp there. Still causing some slowing, 30 minutes from Renton to Bellevue. Out of the north end, kind of a standard day, a little over an hour now from Everett to Seattle, and 50 minutes Everett to Seattle and an hour from Everett to Bellevue. And of course,
it's a reminder that yes, it doesn't get there very often, and only when it really has to.
Another $15 day coming down out of the Linwood area on 405. This report brought to you by the Seattle Mariners. Don't miss 8 fireworks nights this season, presented by T-Mobile. First show May 29th. Get your tickets at mariners.com/fireworks.
Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and mynorthwest.com.
Live from East Lake Avenue.
You're listening to Charlie Harger and Manda Factor, Seattle's morning news.
7:04 now. In Longview this morning, the search continues for 9 workers still missing after a giant tank full of chemicals imploded.
We have team coverage this morning. First, KIRO News Radio's Corwin Haig joins us live from the scene.
And that implosion yesterday morning at Nippon Dynawave Packaging here by the Columbia River left 1 person confirmed dead, 9 others injured, some critically, and those 9 workers unaccounted for. The search for those missing victims resumes today, but only if the vicinity of that giant imploded tank is deemed safe.
The tank remains unstable, creating a dangerous situation for our personnel.
This is Cowlitz 2 Fire and Rescue Chief Scott Goldstein.
Crews are actively assessing the structural integrity of that tank and working on plans to stabilize that tank before additional recovery operations can safely proceed.
Now, somewhere north of 800,000 gallons of a toxic paper-making chemical called white liquor is believed to have leaked from the ruptured tank. Emergency responders estimate 90,000 gallons still remain in the tank. They emphasize, though, that there is no risk to the surrounding community. Live in Longview, Corwin Hake, KIRO News Radio.
Thank you, Corwin, and I'm Luke Ducey in Seattle. We have photos reportedly from ground zero of that implosion on our YouTube feed this morning. They appear to show vehicles smashed and overturned. A large tank also appears to be collapsed in one of the photos. Between 2019 and last year, the company that owns the Longview plant, which is based in Tokyo, has been cited 4 times for safety violations, for not protecting workers from falling off equipment, not requiring face masks during the pandemic, and there was an incident where an employee had their finger amputated. Also, there have been 2 L&I investigations into the company. One of those was opened just 2 months ago after an anonymous complaint about a valve on a tank holding ammonia. There was also a complaint about a drain that reportedly failed and created a sinkhole, according to L&I. And for those injured and killed, here's Battalion Chief Matt Amos.
Emergency responders have confirmed that 10 individuals were transported to area hospitals. 8 were employee injuries. 1 was a firefighter injury, and we have 1 fatality.
This is a massive plant the size of 200 football fields. That's a large area that basically converts wood chips into paperboard. So they make billions and billions of items like the milk and juice cartons out there on your breakfast tables right now, paper cups, food containers, and a lot more. That so-called white liquor chemical that you're hearing about that's spilled in the plant is used to break down those wood chips. So it's nasty stuff, highly corrosive. It looks like more than 800,000 gallons of white liquor leaked. That's enough to fill some 1.2 Olympic-size swimming pools. Also, last night in downtown Longview, a vigil was held for the worker who died and the 9 still missing others who were injured and their families as well. I'll have more on that coming up at the bottom of the hour.
Luke Ducey reporting live. It's 7:07.
Keeping you informed since 1974.
This is the city's longest-running radio news show.
Seattle's Morning News on KIRO Newsradio.
I am so glad to be here.
Yeah.
You could say I'm head over heels.
Oh. I see what you did there, Amanda.
My version of a dad joke.
Amanda joke. I love it. Well, this is Seattle's Morning News on this Wednesday morning. A nice sunny day in front of us as well. You're going to get warm tomorrow. We're talking close to 80.
I'll take it. Chris Sullivan is here keeping an eye on traffic. What a mess in the South End. This is going to go on for how long?
2 weeks.
Boy,
June 9th is when they expect to have that DuPont gate open to JBLM again.
What were the drive times you were saying yesterday?
Yesterday got about an hour and 10 or so.
Yeah.
At one point, it was 30 minutes from Olympia to Lacey. Last time I checked, I could almost hit a golf ball that far.
Yeah. Oh man, I've been stuck with the RV, the trailer.
It looks like that's why I said it looks like a Sunday afternoon get back.
And
right
there's
now.
no easy way around.
No, and going around the long way on the old Nisqually cutoff up to Mounts Road, that never works.
Well, yeah, then everybody tries.
Because everybody does it. It never works.
Exactly. All right. Well, we'll stay on top of that. A busy hour in front of us. We're going to check in with former state AG Rob McKenna in just a few minutes. Some big decisions will be in front of the U.S. Supreme Court. They will be handing down those decisions in the coming days.
And what's coming up in the 735 commentary?
We head back to North Seattle along Aurora Avenue. We're hearing from people who live there, speaking to city leaders about that gun violence happening, and the response they're receiving is disappointing. So talk about that at 7:35.
It's 7:09. If you live in certain parts of Snohomish County, your car tabs may soon be more expensive. KIRO 7 TV's Brooke Griffin reports the county's dealing with a $30 million budget gap.
To fix that, County Public Works is cutting operating costs as much as possible.
We've really run out of things to be able to reduce our expenditure and still deliver safe roads within our community.
Now she says they're considering a new $20 fee on new or renewed car tabs in unincorporated Snohomish County.
It raises about $6 million a year. It's about $500,000 a month.
That's Snohomish County Public Works Director Kelly Snyder. No decision has been made yet, and the discussion on the tab fees expected to happen in August.
A Seattle City Council member says Ballard Light Rail can still be saved.
Anything short of that is unacceptable.
Dan Strauss is proposing Sound Transit shift funding from a second downtown tunnel toward Ballard, tap more of its unused borrowing capacity to speed up construction, and publish a real timeline for the project. Sound Transit's board is expected to vote tomorrow. Voters approved Ballard Light Rail 10 years ago as part of ST3, and they've been paying taxes to make it happen ever since.
Seattle City Council member Rob Saka is pushing to activate security cameras ahead of next month's World Cup events. Saka's urging the mayor to turn on the cams in the stadium district now instead of waiting for a credible threat, as the mayor has directed.
Preparedness means planning for the worst case scenario before, not after.
Saka says the cameras could help deter potential violent acts as large crowds arrive. The mayor has paused activation while a privacy review is underway. We have reached out to the mayor's office for comment.
And if you didn't see Saka at that meeting yesterday, he was wearing the running out that he had when he ran the Boston Marathon several years back. He was at the Boston Marathon where there was the bombing, and he's held up whatever medal or award you get for completing the marathon. The explosion went right after he crossed the finish line.
Oh, my goodness.
And what he said was, I've been through one of these incidents. Cameras work. And so he really was making this visual point that he feels the cameras need to happen.
It's now 7:11. If you haven't been to Westlake Park lately, you're in for a surprise. The downtown Seattle Park reopens tomorrow with a ribbon cutting ahead of the World Cup. Crews spent the last 8 months tearing out the old fountain, the arch, and a set of sculptures. What's there now? More greenery and free public Wi-Fi. The stage is also wheelchair accessible with new sound and electrical upgrades. The renovation cost about $6 million.
Okay, 2 wins in a row. I think we can say officially the Mariners are rolling. The team won against the Athletics yesterday, taking the game 4-1.
The pitch. Swung on, smoked into left field. It's a hit. Robles scores. The Mariners have another. Julio, a laser of a base hit to drive in a run. It's 4-0 Mariners.
So Seattle is just a half game out at first in AL West. They look to sweep the A's today. First pitch is at 12:05. You can catch it on our sister station, 710 Seattle Sports.
It's 7:12 on this beautiful Wednesday morning, and time to check our forecast. We get to KIRO 7 TV's Nick Allard.
What a nice morning it is.
Beautiful.
Very little patchy fog, very little really cloud cover, just a tiny bit. And it is all about the sunshine today, so expect to find calm conditions, warm weather, just what I like to call goodness everywhere. And temps, it'll get to about 73 today. I do think it'll be a little warmer tomorrow, upwards of, say, like 78, 79. In fact, even today, there'll be a few places around 80 in the South Sound, around Olympia, or around, say, like Chehalis. Tacoma is going to be more like 76. But tomorrow, upper 70s and low to mid 80s. And then overnight, even late tomorrow night, you'll see a few clouds pushing in that could lead to, in fact, definitely will, some showers and thunderstorms in the mountains and east of the Cascades. It's going to be very windy tomorrow night in central and eastern Washington. For us, we just eventually get that cooler air and some blustery weather, and we'll go back down to the 60s for, say, Friday. I mean, it's not going to be warm at all, in the low 60s with pockets of showers. But I'm really concerned with the breezy to windy weather Thursday night and into Friday morning, east of the Cascades, and the fact that we could see some pockets of thunderstorms. The rest of the area, though, will dry out Friday afternoon. We'll be in the mid-60s Saturday with morning clouds, afternoon sun. Same thing Sunday, a little warmer, and 70s next week. So if you happen to be going to Brandy this weekend and you're going Thursday night, sleeping outside could be a little bit dangerous, but then it gets better on Friday.
Oh, yeah, Brandy Carlisle in the Gorge.
Oh, yeah.
I just saw a post they're going to try to do better with the traffic and alerts because...
Well, I have a friend here that said she personally only had to wait 6 hours to get into the Gorge campground, but she has friends and family that went, and no joke, waited 12 to 14, and they couldn't even... Some of them tried to get to the, was it Horsehead Campground? Or whatever it's called, they couldn't even get to it. The other ones had to stay in the Gorge campground, and they waited 12 hours.
Oh, my goodness.
On Friday. Saturday was apparently better.
Heads up if you're headed that way this weekend.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it. Right now, it's sunny and 51 in Seattle.
Time to check traffic every 10 minutes. Here's Chris Sullivan.
Hey, we got a new crash to tell you about on southbound I-5, right at the Edmonds exit there, right by the Nile Golf Course. Center lane is blocked. Emergency vehicles are starting to pop up there now as well. So we're slow out of Mount Lake Terrace. You add that to the normal stuff we have out of 145th, and we've got 40 minutes from Linwood and growing, and a little over an hour from Everett to Seattle. Hour and 20 from Everett to Bellevue, as we've added an hour drive from Linwood. It is bumper to bumper all the way down through 522. Coming the other direction, we're rolling well over an hour from Olympia to Tacoma with about a 6-mile backup out of Lacey through DuPont. DuPont Gate to JBLM remains closed for construction. It's about an hour to make that drive to Tacoma. Federal Way to Seattle, 50 minutes, 50 as well up the valley. Rented to Bellevue, over a half an hour. Still working with this crash by the Maple Valley Highway, but it's off on the right shoulder. KIRO Newsradio Real-Time Traffic, I'm Chris Sullivan.
Seattle's morning news on KIRO Newsradio.
7:15 now. Busy time for justices in the U.S. Supreme Court. They're preparing to issue some huge decisions in the coming days.
And this comes as President Trump and the vice president are applying pressure to the conservative majority justices.
So let's take a look at some of the decisions to come. Former state AG Rob McKenna joins us. What are we looking at? What are some of the headlines here, Rob?
Well, the headlines are that we've got a big decision coming down from the court in late June or early July concerning birthright citizenship. You'll recall this is a case that President Trump has really taken a strong position on, demanding that the court agree with his administration that the 14th Amendment does not guarantee that if you're born in this country, you become a citizen. So this is the case where he personally attended the oral arguments at the court, something that no one could ever remember a president doing before. It's a case he's spoken out about publicly. He's demanded that the justices he appointed be personally loyal to him and vote with him the way he wants. But, that's probably not going to happen. Remember that they voted against him, a majority did, on the issue of the tariffs. And he was furious about that. But that didn't stop them from ruling, based on the law, not on politics.
Rob, you have said demanded twice. How normal is it for a president to make demands of the justices?
It's not normal. We just, we don't see that. We see presidents speaking about the court and some, I suppose, sometimes speaking publicly, but they hope for a certain outcome. But he has used a combination of bullying. For example, he said that two of the justices, embarrassed their families when they voted against him on tariffs. So he's been very loud and very aggressive with them in public. They have not responded directly to him when he's done that. But at the same time, he invited the justices to the state dinner with King Charles III a few weeks back. Was that an attempt to mollify them, or to cajole them? It's not really clear, but 6 of them did attend, the 6 conservatives, and it's still not known whether the 3 liberals were even invited to it or not. But it was odd because that dinner was held the night before another argument that involved one of his initiatives. So he seems to be doing what Trump does, which is to use a combination of flattery and bullying to try to get what he wants.
So maybe a preview of where the justices might be leaning. How would you describe the nature of their questions about birthright citizenship?
Well, they're clearly, most of them are clearly very skeptical about the idea that the 14th Amendment doesn't mean what it says. When it talks about being born in the country. So I think that a large majority of the court are going to rule against the administration and uphold the concept that if you're born in this country, you're a citizen of this country. Of course, if Americans wanted to change that, they could amend the Constitution. It's a high hill to climb, but that's the way you amend the Constitution, not through Supreme Court rulings. Now, could he get a couple of justices to vote his way? It is possible. He did get, I think, 3 justices to vote his way on tariffs, led by Brett Kavanaugh, because some of these justices tend to be very deferential to executive power and are willing to go along with what the executive wants. But some of the other strong conservatives will not do that. Justice Gorsuch, who was appointed by Trump in his first term as president, has said, hey, my job here is to, defend the Constitution, not to defend the president.
What else is on the docket that you're going to be watching?
Honestly, birthright citizenship is the sun, is the moon that blots out the sun. It's really the most important case that I think remains. There are some others as well, but I only focus on birthright citizenship to get ready this morning because it has such profound implications. But we'll see more stories coming out about some of the other cases down the road, and we can definitely talk about those as we get closer to June, when the most controversial cases typically are handed down.
Rob, why is it that we never know exactly what day the Supreme Court is going to hand down a decision? We click on SCOTUS blog, we hit refresh about 1 million times, waiting to see what's happening.
Well, the court moves to its own beat. They decide when they're going to release things. It's like a 3-legged race at a picnic, except there are 9 of them, right? The Chief Justice has more leeway and more control when opinions are released. And of course, when there are complicated decisions, you'll have multiple opinions. Even justices who agree in the result will frequently write their own opinion. It's called a concurrence. In that, so when you have that many opinions that you're juggling, and the fact that they'll sometimes talk to each other and negotiate over language and an opinion to get each other to join their opinions, there are a lot of moving pieces, and so that makes the date for an opinion to be released unpredictable sometimes. And this is one way the court signals its independence. It decides when it's going to issue its opinions. It isn't dictated by anyone else, whether the White House or Congress. It will decide when it issues its opinions. And again, the tradition has been that the highest stakes, high profile, most controversial decisions tend to be released toward the end of the session. I think in large part because they're complicated, but it's hard to say whether the court feels like it just makes sense to release those at the end because of their importance. This is a bit of a black box that we're talking about in terms of how they decide the timing of the release of decisions.
And would you say that at the end of this session, if there are to be retirements from the Supreme Court, that's when it gets announced?
It's really not that predictable. But yes, you would assume that they would wait. If any individual justice intends to resign, they would wait until after the court concludes its current term, when the last opinions are released. Now, if there is any justice who's thinking, well, maybe I should retire now and give the president a chance to appoint my replacement while Republicans still hold the Senate, they better get moving because there is now some chance that the Senate's going to flip in this fall's elections, and at that point, the president will get no further appointments during his current and last term. So there has been speculation for a while that Justice Alito might retire, maybe Justice Thomas, that he'll get 2 more appointees. But think about it. Let's say they resign in early July after the last opinion comes out. The election's in November. And of course, the current Senate will be seated until the January, since the new senators aren't sworn in until then. But that's a very compressed time frame to get a Supreme Court nominee or nominees through the process.
Okay, well, I better clear my schedule for July, is what I hear you saying, because Rob, I'm going to be the next nominee for the Supreme Court. It's a odd choice, but I promise when you are arguing in front of me, I'll have an open mind. Okay.
It's an unconventional choice, Charlie, but I look forward to it. And meanwhile, don't forget to go scrub your social media posts.
No kidding. Rob, thanks for joining us every week. We appreciate it. Former State Attorney General Rob McKenna.
7:23 now. Let's check in with Sully for traffic on the 3s.
And we have blocked a second lane now on southbound I-5 right at the Edmonds exit. There as you get past the Nile Golf Course. Right lane and the lane next to it, lanes 1 and 2 are blocked for this crash. And we are looking at a pretty heavy backup through Mount Lake Terrace. We're about an hour and 10-minute trip now from Everett to Seattle, hour and 20 from Everett to Bellevue, and that's just volume on that side of the lake. Looking at the 204 being heavy getting down to the east end of the trestle, but that's nothing unusual. Northbound of I-5 continues to struggle through Lacey. The DuPont gate to JBLM remains closed, about 55 minutes to go from Olympia to Tacoma. Once you're through that, it's not too bad. Most of Pierce County is quiet. There's some westbound slowing on 512 at I-5, a little eastbound getting past Cheney Stadium. Looking at the Valley Freeway, 50 minutes there, and then Renton to Bellevue is about 35. The Federal Way to Seattle Drive is also about 50 minutes. The Lake Bridges, though, are in good shape. This report brought to you by the Harnish Auto family. The super sales on now through the May 31st. Exclusive deals, 0 down, no payments, all summer on approval of credit. Puyallup and Everett, Harnish Auto family, where people matter.
Our forecast, really nice for the next couple of days. Mostly sunny, 73 today, upper 70s tomorrow. And then a big change on Friday. Scattered showers, that'll keep us much cooler, about 61 Friday. But back to some sunshine by Saturday afternoon. Right now in Seattle, it is sunny and 51.
Coming up, we'll have more of the day's top headlines.
We continue our coverage of the tragic implosion at a plant in Longview. Corwin Hake and Luke Ducey have the latest.
And in today's 7:35 commentary, frustration continues for North Seattle residents pleading with city leaders to do something about the continuous gun violence in their neighborhood. We'll talk about that at 7:35.
This is Seattle's Morning News.
This hour is brought to you by CM Heating.
KIRO News Radio, where you turn for the news you depend on.
KIRO Newsradio's Luke Ducey is here with more.
24% of businesses are now thinking about leaving Washington.
Traffic.
We are definitely seeing some slowing through the S-curves.
Conversation.
We build it, we produce it, we charge for it.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
A one-hander! Are you kidding me?
Broadcasting live from the KIRO News Radio YouTube channel. KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM.
Underestimating the trucking industry is one of the biggest mistakes I see victims and other lawyers make. Trucking companies have an army of lawyers and experts who act quickly after an accident to protect the company. Only an experienced trucking accident lawyer can navigate the complicated federal and state laws to protect your rights. If you or a loved one has been injured in a trucking accident, call Davis Law Group today for a free consultation or get my free book on trucking accident law at washingtonaccidentbooks.com.
Lumen Field on Seahawks game days is your key to unlocking premium hospitality, views, and experiences. Host a memorable event in your own private game day suite. Or see an up-close, unique perspective from sideline and end zone field seats. To learn more about all the ways you can elevate your Seahawks game day at Lumen Field, visit Seahawks.com/premium.
If you're looking to buy or sell a home in Washington, recent headlines might concern you. Talk of pocket listings or private networks where only certain consumers see certain properties are all over the media. Good news. The legislature recently passed a bill to protect you in your transaction. No secret deals, all listings available for everyone to see, not just an exclusive club of insiders. This means more competition, better offers, and fair access for all consumers. Learn more at warealtor.org. Sponsored by Washington Realtors.
Summer's a busy time for most businesses, and WaFd Bank is here to help you keep up. WaFd Bank has you covered with free business checking, business credit cards, credit lines, and other services to move your business forward. WaFd also offers payment processing, so customers can pay through a kiosk, a mobile app, or online for seamless transactions. And with so many options, WaFd Bank is quickly becoming an SBA preferred lender of choice, so you'll find the perfect fit to meet your goals. WaFd Bank, built for business. Visit wafdbank.com, member FDIC, loan subject to credit approval.
If your home is 20 years old or more, it might be time to have your roof checked. Your roof is your home's first line of defense, and at Guardian, we help it last as long as possible. That's why every new install comes protected with a full year of free maintenance on us. Visit us at guardianroofing.com.
From the people who brought you It's the Dog Park comes.
It's a hot spot on your dog's leg. But the internet says you can treat it at home. You're not sure though, 'cause now it's oozing.
Protect your dog from injury and illness with Progressive Pet Insurance.
Ooh, he's licking it. Super gross, dude.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Coverage subject to policy terms.
Earn an accredited MBA in as few as 16 months for about $21K at University of Maryland Global Campus. Explore 10 specializations, including finance, HR, cyber technology, and more. Plus, showcase the value of your MBA with a comprehensive learner record and digitally demonstrate in-demand skills and credentials to employers. No application fee if you apply by June 1st. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Shell.
A shot to center field. Julio is there, and Julio makes the catch!
At T-Mobile Park, you've always got the best seat in the house, even when there's not an actual seat, because you're in the T-Mobile pen.
They're going crazy here at T-Mobile Park.
The pen isn't just the perfect space to hang with your whole crew. It's where you can see Julio defend the no-fly zone 1 minute and watch Senor Smoke get ready for his big entrance the next.
Andres Munoz has simply been incredible.
Sure, the pen is standing room only, but with a team this exciting, who wants to be sitting down? Mariners baseball. Try this up.
90s weekend is on deck at T-Mobile Park. The fun gets started this Friday with an epic 90s themed fireworks night presented by T-Mobile. Then it's back-to-back giveaways. Julio Rodriguez sleeveless jersey Saturday and Ken Griffey Jr. pin Sunday. Both presented by Key Bank. Get your tickets at mariners.com.
Tune in to The Money Professor with Chris Longworth.
Having some certainty about your plan is definitely going to give you all the advantages.
Chris has the heart of an educator.
If you really want to do this correctly, then you get to enjoy every day of retirement like it's a Saturday. And if you don't, it's a Monday for the rest of your life.
Tune in to The Money Professor with Chris Longworth, Saturdays at 8 a.m. right here on KIRO Newsradio 97.3 FM.
Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and MyNorthwest.com.
Live from Eastlake Avenue.
You're listening to Charlie Harger and Manda Factor, Seattle's morning news.
Good morning, it's 7:30. Emergency responders in Longview face an emotionally and physically taxing day as they continue searching the wreckage of a damaged paper-making plant after a massive chemical tank implosion.
KIRO News Radio's Corwin Hake is live on the scene. Corwin?
And Charlie and Manda, it's hard to overstate what Longview Fire Chief Matt Amos said very simply at the end of a tragic Tuesday.
This has been an incredibly difficult day for our community and for everyone involved.
Amos then disclosed a reality that could make this implosion at Nippon Dynawave one of the state's deadliest ever industrial accidents, in addition to one person confirmed dead.
Officials can also confirm that there's currently 9 employees who remain unaccounted for. The recovery operations, they remain focused on safely accessing all affected areas of the facility.
That could be easier said than done because the ruptured tank still contains tens of thousands of gallons of a caustic chemical used in paper manufacturing. Officials consider the tank unstable, and today's hope for recovery of those still missing will proceed only if responders can do so safely. Live in Longview, Corwin Hake, KIRO News Radio.
Thank you, Corwin. I'm Luke Ducey in Seattle. A vigil was held last night in downtown Longview for those 9 workers still missing and the one worker who has been confirmed passed away.
To see
And here's the organizer of the vigil and former mayor, Spencer Boudreau, on KIRO 7 TV.
You know, when anything happens down at the mills, we all know somebody affected. You know, this is probably the worst job site disaster we've had here ever.
If you're watching on our YouTube feed, we have photos that we've been showing all morning long, reportedly from ground zero of this massive implosion. Vehicles smashed and flipped over. It appears there's a massive tank also in one of the photos that has collapsed. You'll see this massive area of this where this all covered. This is a massive plant we're talking about, the size of 200 football fields, that basically converts wood chips into paper board, which is then used to make billions and billions of products like food containers, paper cups, tissue paper, wrapping paper, a ton of things. The so-called white liquor that you might have been hearing about, a chemical that's spilled in the plant that's used to in that process of converting products into pulp and then paperboard, it's actually used to break down those wood chips. So it is highly corrosive. It looks like more than 800,000 gallons of white liquor leaked. That's enough to take, let's talk about that football field again, at least one football field, cover it nearly 2 feet deep. As for why this happened, Governor Ferguson says they will find a cause.
On behalf of the people of the state of Washington, I want all those individuals to know that we stand with you. We'll be here to do everything we can to help with the situation, and we'll be here as long as it takes.
But Charlie, Amanda, there's much more as well. There have been multiple safety violations at this plant, according to state L&I records. We're going to have much more on that coming up at the top of the hour.
Luke Ducey reporting live. Time to check traffic. Here's Sully with traffic on the 3s.
And we've got an hour and 10-minute trip now to go from Olympia to Tacoma. That is about a 30-minute delay, double the normal travel time. Primarily, this is all because of the DuPont gate to JBLM being closed, but there's also some pretty heavy fog right now, kind of hovering over I-5 right around the Cabela's. So that's causing a little bit of an issue, too. So plan on big-time delays there. Once you're up past DuPont, it's not too bad the rest of the way into Tacoma. In Pierce County in general, there's westbound slowing on 512, eastbound on 16 past Cheney Stadium, but nothing you can't handle. Federal Way to Seattle's about 55 minutes now. Those last couple of miles are going to be a little tough. Renton to Bellevue's about 35 to 40, depending on how you hit the volume at the top end, over the top of I-90. Really struggling out of Kent, going up to 405. We've got about a 55-minute trip now from Puyallup up to Renton. Lake Bridges, still good. We have cleared the crash at the Nile Golf Course there, southbound I-5 at the Edmonds exit. Everything's off to the right-hand shoulder. Still out braking through Alderwood and then the normal stuff, but we have about an hour and 10 from Everett to Seattle, hour and 20 from Everett to Bellevue. This report brought to you by Seattle Sports. Download the Seattle Sports app. Stay in the know with the latest news, scores, and opinions about your favorite teams.
Our forecast, beautiful day, mostly sunny, 73. Warmer tomorrow, we'll be pushing 80 in the sunshine. And then Friday, big change, scattered showers, much cooler, 61 with mostly cloudy skies. Right now in Seattle, it's sunny, it's beautiful, 51 degrees.
Seattle's tradition for news and conversation. This is Seattle's Morning News with Charlie Harger and Manda Factor.
Time for the 7:35 commentary. Someone was recording Saturday. A neighbor near Aurora Avenue North pulled out a phone and captured the conversation between residents and Allison Holcomb, Mayor Katie Wilson's public safety advisor. That video found its way to me. Holcomb came out after a shooting earlier that morning. It was the 7th in less than 2 weeks in that area. She stood in the street with neighbors who had moved steel planters onto their side streets because they had run out of patience with City Hall. First, it's important to understand what's happening on those streets. The side streets near Aurora aren't random crime scenes. They're a circuit. What happens is people cruise Aurora, turn onto the residential side streets, circle back, and repeat all night. The pimps know the loop. The Johns know the loop. The drug dealers know the loop. The neighbors live inside it. So when the shooting starts, it often starts on those residential blocks. The same ones where families are sleeping, where kids wait for the bus, where a 6-week-old was in a bassinet when bullets came through the wall the weekend before last. 95 shootings in 2 years in a neighborhood. This is not a nuisance complaint. This is a public safety emergency. What the neighbors got on Aurora Saturday was a tour of why everything's complicated. Holcomb talked about the police chief and deputy chiefs and assistant chiefs working hard to figure out the most strategic path forward. The neighbors talked about bullets. Then came the bureaucracy maze. The city attorney is separately elected and doesn't report to the mayor. SDOT has access concerns about the planters. Fire needs to review the street closures. Every door the neighbors tried to open, Holcomb had an explanation for why it was complicated. It was a tour of the Seattle government org chart delivered to people who had been awake at 4 that morning counting gunshots. The neighbors talked about bullets. The city talked about jurisdictions. Now, I've covered Seattle mayors going back a long time. There was a time when something was on fire, they didn't convene a work group. They knocked heads. They called people into a room and said, enough of this. They used the office. So one resident finally said what many of them clearly believe. This is within the mayor's control, and she's done nothing. Holcomb responded that the mayor had assigned staff across her office and that people are working on it. But the resident wasn't asking whether people were busy. They were asking whether anyone was leading. Holcomb told residents that the city's ability to deploy officers, and I'm quoting here, is a little to a large degree dictated by collective bargaining agreements. The mayor's own public safety advisor on camera telling residents that City Hall cannot put officers where they're needed because of a police union contract this administration didn't negotiate. After 95 shootings in 2 years. Well, here's the thought. Pick up the phone and call SPOG. Yes, the city and the police union are often at odds. That's how unions and management work everywhere. And it's especially true in a city that tacitly embraced defunding the police just 6 years ago, watched hundreds of officers walk out the door, and is now trying to rebuild a department with the same people it spent years signaling it didn't want. But the officers who stayed are here for a reason. They didn't leave for Bellevue or Kent or Pierce County when they had every excuse to. They stayed because they care about this city. Call them. I suspect a workable solution exists inside 15 minutes and won't cost the city $1. City Hall keeps describing the contract like a locked door. SPOG has been standing on the other side waiting for somebody to knock. One resident told Holcomb she was showing more leadership by talking to them than the mayor had shown at all. The bar for leadership in North Seattle right now is showing up after the 7th shooting in less than 2 weeks. The bar is on the floor. A neighborhood with 95 shootings in 2 years doesn't need another explanation of why every solution is hard. It needs a city that acts like 95 shootings in 2 years is unacceptable. The neighbors already do. They put planters in the street. City Hall should ask itself why residents with shovels move faster than a government with all the power. And that's the 7:35 commentary for Wednesday, May 27th, 2026. You can text your thoughts to the Muckleshoot Casino and Resort text line, 888-973-5476. Always leave a comment at KIRO Newsradio on our YouTube live feed. And you can head over to mynorthwest.com and comment there as well.
It's 7:40. Sully, what's coming up in traffic?
We're going to take a look at the 25-minute delays northbound I-5 getting out of Lacey. We'll break it down next.
Your medication for enlarged prostate is working. That's what you tell yourself. You're up 3 times a night instead of 5. The urgency is manageable. The stream's not great, but it's fine. That's the problem. Fine. Enlarged prostate, or BPH, doesn't pause because the medication takes the edge off. The prostate keeps growing. The bladder keeps working harder. And over time, those changes can be harder to reverse. But surgery? Not for you, right? Aquablation is not the surgery you're picturing. It's the only ultrasound-guided, robotic-assisted therapy for enlarged prostate. Don't wait until things become unbearable. Find an Aquablation urologist near you. Call Aquablation Seattle at 206-666-2466. 206-666-2466. That's 206-666-2466. All surgical treatments carry risks and results may vary. Side effects may include urinary symptoms, mild pain, ejaculatory dysfunction, or infection. In rare cases, complications to the urethra and rectum may occur. Aquablation therapy may not be right for everyone. Talk to your urologist to learn more. Visit aquablationseattle.com.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. After 15 years and over 50,000 cancellations, I can tell you with confidence, we know how to get you out of your timeshare. Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit guide absolutely free with all your options for cancellation. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-881-8686. That's 800-881-8686. 800-881-8686.
At Guardian Roofing Gutters and Insulation, we stand by our quality gutters. Whether you need a cleaning or a complete gutter install, we do it all. Call today and get $250 off a gutter installation. And visit us at guardianroofing.com.
7:43 now. We check in with Sully, who has traffic on the threes for us.
25-minute delay for those of you trying to get from Olympia through Lacey up through DuPont. DuPont Gate to JBLM remains closed for construction, and so we have a lot of people trying to do other things there. And we also have some heavy fog in that area, so plan on at least an hour drive from Olympia into Tacoma. We're also seeing a lot of people go in the other direction, and I mean the other direction. Down through Yelm and up through Spanaway. There is a huge backup on 507, on the backside of JBLM trying to get up there to the Roy Y. To the Spanaway interchange there with Highway 7. So plan on big time delays on that side of JBLM as well. Rest of the map, about what you might expect. I mean, we're seeing things get better in the Linwood area. It's still heavy right around 196th. We had an earlier crash by the Nile Golf Course there, the Edmonds exit. About an hour and 10-minute trip from Everett to Seattle, hour and 25 from Everett to Bellevue, bumper to bumper from Linwood, and it just doesn't relent through Canyon Park. We're also seeing heavy brake lights on westbound 2 again today, and 204 getting down to the east end of the trestle. That's becoming relatively normal these days. Rented to Bellevue, about 42 minutes, heavy all the way through the S-curves, then before kind of breaking up as you get up towards Factoria, a little bit more into South Bellevue. Looking at the Valley Freeway, over 50 minutes to make that trip, an hour Federal Way to Seattle, and we're definitely seeing brake lights in both directions of I-90 approaching the 405 interchange. Again, that's just normal stuff, weaving and merging as people are using those ramps. KIRO Newsradio Real-Time Traffic, I'm Chris Sullivan.
And our forecast, beautiful day, mostly sunny, warming up to the low 70s for today, upper 70s tomorrow. And then we are going to see some rain move in Friday. Just a one-day thing. Scattered showers in 61, but then Saturday and Sunday looks like clouds in the morning, sunshine for the afternoon, and highs in the mid and upper 60s. Right now it's 51 in Seattle.
Coming up, how does the contentious primary election in Texas impact the upcoming midterms? We'll hear from ABC's Jim Ryan. You're listening to Seattle's Morning News.
Thanks for calling CM Heating.
Yeah, hi. I need an AC tune-up, and one room isn't comfortable.
We could do both. We'll get your system running right and take a look at the room. Ductless could be a great solution.
Perfect.
Yeah, and if your system's older, right now when you install a qualifying high-efficiency cooling system, the furnace is free.
Wow.
So you get a complete heating and cooling system for the price of one, and we help maximize rebates to save you the most.
Visit cmheating.com today for your tune-up or free estimate.
There's no beating CM Heating.
CMHEA HL751LW.
This is Chris Davis with the Davis Law Group. Did you know that a pedestrian does not have to be crossing the street on a marked crosswalk to have a successful legal claim against the driver? Pedestrians can even be partially at fault for a collision and still have a valuable claim. Call us today for a free consultation or get my free book on pedestrian accident law at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com. That's Davis Law Group, better service and even better results.
What would you do if the person you love needed round-the-clock care and you had no plan to pay for it?
I was very worried about running out of money.
When Mike's wife was diagnosed with dementia, he turned to LifePoint Law and elder law attorney Rajiv Nagayich.
And then he said, "You're going to be okay, but we have to get through these steps." Then I felt a whole lot better going into it. It was still a very difficult process, but in the end, I knew that there was someone there that if I needed help, understood what I'm going through.
LifePoint Law helped Mike protect his wife, his finances, and his future.
They laid it out really well up front. They give you a very in-depth plan. There are so many things that you don't know. I could never have done it on my own.
Register for a free LifePoint Law retirement planning seminar in Tacoma on June 4th, Mukilteo on June 6th, Lacey on June 9th, or Bellevue on June 13th. 6:30 p.m. Space is limited. Sign up at lifepointlaw.com. That's lifepointlaw.com.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement. and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
This Memorial Day, get $525 off every window, $1,000 off every door, plus 12 months zero-interest financing. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com.
This is the city's longest-running radio news show, Seattle's Morning News on KIRO Newsradio.
Well, a fierce primary battle in Texas last night as two Republican candidates for senator mashed up to see who would represent the GOP in November's general election.
As a backdrop to all this, President Trump made it clear which Republican had his support. Let's break it down now. ABC News correspondent Jim Ryan joins us from Dallas. Jim, we are thrilled to have you this morning here on KIRO News Radio.
Thrilled to be here, Amanda. Great to talk to you again. Yes, I don't think there was a great surprise that Ken Paxton actually defeated John Cornyn, but the margin is what people are looking at here this morning. A 28 percentage point margin between Ken Paxton and John Cornyn. Was that because of President Trump's endorsement? Possibly, but I think Trump also was reading the tea leaves last week before he made his endorsement, saw that Ken Paxton was likely to defeat the incumbent Cornyn. And so this is where it shakes out now. Going into November, it'll be Ken Paxton representing the GOP as the potentially the next senator from Texas.
Okay, who is Ken Paxton, Jim?
He is the Texas Attorney General. A very checkered past, I guess you could say. He brings a lot of baggage into this race. He was impeached because of ethical issues, impeached by the Republican-controlled Texas House of Representatives. The Texas Senate then decided not to impeach him, and so he wasn't impeached. More recently, he divorced his wife. His wife divorced him, actually, on what she said were biblical grounds. And a lot of the campaign ads that John Cornyn had pointed those foibles out about Ken Paxton. So, yeah, he does bring with him a lot of baggage, and the GOP is going to have to try to overcome that.
What can you tell us about his opponent in November, James Tallarico?
Tallarico's been in the Texas House for the last 8 years, 37 years old, a fairly moderate Democrat, I suppose. But he's also being cast now as the favorite of outside Democrats, people outside of Texas who are contributing to his campaign. Paxton already has pounced on that, and probably will see a lot of campaign ads related to that going forward. President Trump also this morning posted on X, calling James Tallarico Alfred E. Newman, the kid from Mad Magazine, saying that he's a terrible candidate, in fact, the worst candidate he's seen ever for anybody at the Senate. So, the Republicans now are lining up again behind Ken Paxton and against James Tallarico.
Jen, one of the big storylines surrounding this runoff election is the money behind the candidates. Can you break down what makes fundraising a campaign in Texas different than in other states?
Well, for the Republicans, it's a fairly easy thing to do. This is a deep red state and lots of deep pockets around here, especially the urban areas. For the Democrats, the Democrats haven't won a statewide election here in over 30 years, Manda. James Tallarico would be the first if he were able to pull it off. And so, yes, a lot of Democrats from outside the state do see that happening, and they pump money in. But of course, now before the primary, it was a three-way race between Cornyn and Ken Paxton and a guy named Wesley Hunt. Wesley Hunt was able to pull away enough of the vote that neither Paxton nor Cornyn could get to the 50% required to avoid the runoff. And so they had to pour another $1 million or so into the runoff campaign. So all told, this will go down as the most expensive primary in U.S. history at about $130 million.
Whew. Can you tell us what kind of impact a race like this will have on the midterms coming up?
Well, yeah, it's going to have a big impact. I think that it may energize the Democrats, at least here in Texas. They may see this as their one chance to try to take back the Senate. There could be others looking at it around the country, too. And you mentioned fundraising there, Amanda. So the Republicans will have to spend a lot of money that they would have spent in other races in Georgia, for example, where they were hoping to flip a blue seat to red. But they'll have to spend money here in Texas instead of doing that. And I think if Paxton loses, President Trump may have to take the blame for that.
All right, ABC correspondent Jim Ryan joining us for the first time on KIRO. Welcome to KIRO, Jim. Love having you with us.
Thanks, Charlie.
President Trump's push to reshape congressional districts suffered a setback yesterday as South Carolina senators declined to redraw the map. The Senate rejected a Republican plan to cancel those votes and schedule a new primary. The proposed map would have turned all 7 congressional districts red. Some senators said it was simply too late to make a change.
Many of us are also frustrated and disappointed at what is a very unsatisfying outcome. But we need to face it. The time clock for getting this done ran out, and the time clock for in-person voting started at 8:30 this morning.
A dozen Republicans joined Senate Democrats' motion to continue redistricting discussions until June 10th, the day after the primaries.
Police have arrested a suspect accused of attacking 2 men putting up campaign signs in Spokane. Spokane County Treasurer Mike Voles and auditor candidate Dale Whitaker yelled obscenities at them, and then things got physical. Whitaker recorded part of the encounter and provided the footage to SeattleRed.com.
Your name? Throw a punch.
It was at that point the man allegedly headbutted Voles in the chest. Voles was not hurt.
It's now 7:53, and that's time for a check on traffic. We do that every 10 minutes on the 3s. So what do you have for us, Sully?
Well, we've got a 20 to 25-minute delay on the I-5 corridor, making your way out of the Olympia area through Lacey, up through DuPont. It's trying to get better, but it's just not going to. With the DuPont gate closed at JBLM for construction, we have about a 5 to 7 mile backup, depending on how you hit it, beginning basically right in the heart of Lacey all the way up past the DuPont gate. So it's well over an hour to make that trip. After that, it's not too bad. In South Tacoma, there's a little bit of braking. Eastbound 16 has the normal stuff past Cheney Stadium, which, by the way, Summit Club is very nice there. Made it to the game again. If you didn't hear. Looking at the northbound I-5 drive from Federal Way to Seattle, we're looking at about an hour drive for you. 50 minutes up the valley. Not bad out of Puyallup and Sumner, but boy, getting into and through Auburn is not bad. Up at the north end is a little heavy too. 45 minutes from Renton to Bellevue is about average. We have brake lights heavy through the S-curves, then at the north end as well over the top of I-90. Lake Bridges, a little westbound slowing off of Mercer Island, but you can handle it. Westbound 2 is really slow today from before Bickford all the way to the east end of the trestle. I haven't found anything there other than sunshine. And a lot of cars, so I'm not sure why we're a little extra slow there. Looking at about an hour and 5 now from Everett to Seattle. We're picking up the pace there. Still over an hour and 20 though from Everett into Bellevue, with the brake lights bumper to bumper away from Linwood. This report brought to you by Carpet Liquidators. Why pay retail? Save big with the largest carpet and hardwood flooring selection at Carpet Liquidators. 7 locations. They've got you covered. Carpet Liquidators.
Sunshine in Seattle today, 73 the forecast high, 79 tomorrow before we have some showers on Friday, 61 the high. The weekend, Saturday, looks to be 64 and 67 on Sunday.
Coming up, team coverage of the devastating chemical tank implosion in Longview. Corwin Hake live on the scene. Luke Ducey here with us in the studio.
KIRO Newsradio.
Get on the YouTube channel.
We're live all day on YouTube. Every show, every day.
Hang out with us. The whole gang's there.
And you never know what you might see.
Back up the camera. Oh, my God.
Just search KIRO Newsradio, then subscribe. KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle.
Hiking, camping weekends, and mountain drives. This is Subaru country. And Carter Subaru is Seattle's only Subaru dealership with more than 800 Subarus in stock right now. From the fuel-saving Crosstrek and Forester hybrids to the all-electric Solterra with 0% APR for 72 months. Carter Subaru in Ballard, Shoreline, or online at cartersubaru.com.
On approved credit, subject to vehicle insurance and availability. A documentary service fee may be added to the sale price or capitalized cost. See dealer for details. Valid through 5/31/26.
Golden Crest Metals helps investors understand how physical gold and silver can be held inside qualified retirement accounts without pressure or confusion. Our team brings decades of experience in precious metals and retirement planning with a focus on clear education, straightforward pricing, and a process designed to put clients first. Why do investors choose Golden Crest Metals? Experience, transparency, and a client-first approach. Tune into The Gold Show with Kenny Michaels every Saturday at 1 p.m.
Eric Johnson here. I spent the past 30 years working to help make our community better informed, better protected when it comes to consumer issues, and better equipped to take on whatever life throws at us. That's why I love the free Washington Accident book series from Davis Law Group. These books keep us better informed about the law, better able to protect ourselves on and off the road, and better off when all is said and done after an accident. Chris Davis didn't have to write these books. He did it because he saw a need. People who were in accidents or other legal situations didn't know what to do, what pictures to take, documents to request. Only a tiny fraction of the people who get these free books will ever become clients of Davis Law Group, but that's not the point. Chris wrote them because it was the right thing to do. The free Washington Accident Book Series is a must-have for drivers who want to be prepared for whatever the road might throw at them. Get yours at WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
Guys, tired all the time? Gaining weight? Low drive? These aren't just signs of aging. They could be low testosterone or other underlying issues. This June for Men's Health Month, Revive Men's Health in Washington is helping men take control of their health with a free, comprehensive wellness panel. A $400 value included when starting treatment. Your panel checks key health markers, including testosterone, blood sugar, cholesterol, kidneys, liver, and thyroid, so you can finally understand what your body's been trying to tell you. Since 2011, over 120,000 men have trusted Revive to get real results. More energy, better sleep, improved mood, and confidence that shows. If something feels off, don't wait. Get answers, get a plan, and start feeling better. This offer ends June 30th. Schedule your free, comprehensive wellness panel today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, KIRO FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle, Northwest News.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Ugandan authorities have ordered the closure of the border with Congo effective immediately as cases of that rare type of Ebola surge. The decision coming after a rise in the number of Ugandan health workers exposed to the virus by Congolese patients who crossed the border before the outbreak was declared on May 15th. The White House has been expressing optimism and ongoing discussions with Iran, but several key topics remain up in the air before a peace deal will be signed. ABC's Ian Pannell in Israel.
The discussions that are ongoing right now is basically to try and lift the siege of the Strait of Hormuz, the restrictions put in place by Iran, and to allow the U.S. naval blockade to be withdrawn. What it doesn't resolve are the outstanding issues, the ones that existed before, during the war and throughout this ceasefire, primarily Iran's nuclear program.
The president saying he is confident Iran will make concessions. This is ABC News. New York wants the Olympics again. ABC's Dave Packer has more.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul says she wants to bring the Winter Olympics back to the Empire State. The idea would team up New York City with Lake Placid for a future bid, possibly for the 2042 Games. Hochul told The Athletic that she had significant meetings regarding bringing the Winter Olympics back to the state. Lake Placid already has Olympic history. It hosted the 1932 and 1980 Winter Games, including the famous Miracle on Ice when the United States hockey team shocked the Soviet Union. Dave Packer, ABC News, New York.
Matthew Perry's personal assistant faces sentencing today in connection with Perry's death of a ketamine overdose in 2023. Kenneth Iwamasa faces up to 15 years behind bars. Britain's cybersecurity chief warning today that artificial intelligence is an unstoppable force that is being weaponized in ways that closely resemble and fall just short of traditional warfare. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
8:02, here's what's happening. The death toll could rise at a Longview paper mill where 9 workers are still unaccounted for after a chemical tank ruptured yesterday. We'll have team coverage with Corwin Hake at the scene and Luke Ducey in studio.
A homicide investigation is underway in Seattle's Madison Park. Officers found a man dead in a parking lot Sunday afternoon with significant trauma. They have no suspect information.
And if you live in unincorporated Snohomish County, your car tabs could soon cost more. Public Works proposing a new $20 fee to help close a $30 million transportation budget gap.
It's just about 8:03, and that's time for a check on traffic. We do that every 10 minutes. What's up, Sully?
Well, we're running about 15-20 minutes behind in a couple of different places, kind of on either end of our drive. I'm going to start with the South End Drive, where we have about 8 miles of off and on slowing from Lacey up through DuPont. The DuPont gate to JBLM closed for construction for 2 weeks. Yesterday was pretty bad. Today, I thought more people would kind of get the memo and figure it out. Either way, we have about an hour drive from Olympia to Tacoma. That's 20-25 minutes slower than you probably expected. You also have the braking in South Tacoma to deal with, but most of Pierce County is trying to thin out. Now to the North End Drive, we still are looking at very heavy times, especially through Linwood on southbound 5. We had an earlier crash right by the Edmonds exit that didn't really help matters, and we're really slow from about 175th down. So it's an hour and 20 from Everett to Seattle, hour and 30, 90 minutes from Everett to Bellevue, with bumper to bumper from 405 and 55 all the way down kind of through Totem Lake now. Across the lake, no problems. Rented to Bellevue, though, about 45 minutes. Really heavy with just a slight gap as you work your way toward Newcastle. Behind that, the Valley Freeway is trying to get better. Hasn't quite turned the corner yet. Had about a 50-minute trip to make it from the Puyallup area on up into Renton. This report brought to you by Subaru of Puyallup. Traffic is stressful. One thing that's stress-free? Great pricing on over 300 new Subarus with easy financing at Subaru of Puyallup. Subaru of Puyallup, your stress-free dealership.
8:04 on the Wednesday, May 27th, 2026 edition of Seattle's Morning News. I'm Charlie Harger with Manda Factor.
Emergency responders in Longview face an emotionally and physically taxing day as they continue to search the wreckage of a damaged paper-making plant after a massive chemical tank implosion.
KIRO Newsradio's Corwin Hake has an update live from the scene. Corwin?
No one is saying for sure that 9 workers missing in Nippon Dynawave Packaging are deceased, but it is telling that emergency efforts here have been deemed a recovery operation since soon after the implosion at 7:15 yesterday morning. Meanwhile, although emergency responders say there is no direct threat to the surrounding community, the sheer amount of chemicals remaining in the imploded tank, some 90,000 gallons, are hampering those recovery efforts. Returning to the human toll, in addition to 1 fatality and the 9 still missing, casualties here at the site include 9 persons transported for chemical burns and other injuries, some of them critical. Live in Longview, Corwin Hake, KIRO News Radio.
Thank you, Corwin. And I'm Luke Ducey in Seattle with our continuing coverage between 2019 and last year. The company that owns the Longview plant, a Japanese company based in Tokyo, has been cited 4 times for safety violations, for not protecting workers from falling off equipment, according to records, not requiring face masks during the pandemic, and there was an incident where an employee had their finger amputated. Also, there have been 2 L&I investigations into the company. One of those was opened just 2 months ago after an anonymous complaint about a valve on a tank holding ammonia. There was also a complaint about a drain that reportedly failed and created a sinkhole, according to L&I. If you're watching and have been on our YouTube feed all morning long, we do have photos and have had them on mynorthwest.com as well, reportedly from ground zero of the implosion. They appear to show vehicles smashed and overturned and a large tank collapse as well. Check out our social media channels as well when you get to work. We have those up for you. As for first responders and what they'll be doing today, you heard a little bit from Corwin on the scene there, but here's more from Battalion Chief Matt Amos.
The recovery and stabilization efforts remain extremely complex due to the ongoing hazards.
In other words, it's going to take time to stabilize that scene even more today before they can locate those 9 missing workers. Let's talk about the plant itself and what it does. This is a massive plant, the size of not 1 or 2, but almost 3 Disneylands. large. The plant basically converts wood chips into paperboard, which is then used to make some 300,000 metric tons of paperboard every year, according to the company's website. That is the equivalent of 6 billion liter-sized cartons of milk every year. Oh, this so-called white liquor chemical that's spilled in the plant that's used to break down those wood chips, nasty stuff, highly corrosive, and it looks like more than 800,000 gallons of white liquor leaked. That's enough to fill 1.2 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Charlie and Amanda, also, there was a vigil last night that was held. We're going to have more on that coming up at the bottom of the hour.
Okay, and we are expecting an update a little later today from the scene, and we'll have that for you as we learn more. It's 8:07.
Keeping you informed since 1974. This is the city's longest-running radio news show.
Seattle's Morning News on KIRO Newsradio.
It's 8:08. It's Wednesday, May 27th. Haven't heard that one in a while.
No, I just want to have a little fun.
Don't we all? He's Charlie Harger. I'm Manda Factor. No one more fun than Chris Sullivan. Watching traffic.
Oh, that's so true.
Definitely not fun in the South Sound today.
No. Another hard day coming up from Olympia.
Okay, we'll be keeping an eye on that. We have traffic on the 3s. Katrina Gishard is out at the KIRO Radio News Desk. David Burbank is producing the show today. And Nick Gracia is playing the music and running the board today.
Coming up this hour, fast approaching Seattle Pride as May comes to a close. There will be a very special event at this year's Pride put on by Lifelong. We're going to hear all about it as the Lifelong CEO James Shackelford joins us live in the studio.
And G. Scott will stop by to weigh in on the latest layoffs from Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram.
It's 8:08. The King County Regional Homelessness Authority says it's beginning to recover some of the nearly $13 million flagged in a recent audit. KIRO 7 TV's Brandon Thompson has the update.
Of the more than $4 million an audit found was overspent, $1.5 million was found. Of the $8 million the audit author says is missing, $1 million was found.
The corrected plan is their best shot.
King County Council member Reagan Dunn.
In the meantime, that agency should do the very best it can to get the contracts out the door with appropriate supervision.
Dunn voted to create the RHA 7 years ago, but after the audit, he has sponsored legislation to end it completely.
Seattle City Council members calling on the mayor to activate security cameras near stadiums before next month's World Cup events. Rob Saka is vice chair of the Public Safety Committee.
Waiting for a purported credible threat before activating those tools is far too reactive. For an event of this magnitude, we're failing to meet the moment.
Mayor has held off on activating the cameras, saying they'll be turned on only if there's a credible threat. Saka argues the technology could deter potential attacks as crowds grow. We've reached out to the mayor's office for comment.
Seattle police are investigating a double shooting in the Central District last night that left a man and woman seriously hurt. Officers were called about 10 o'clock to the 100 block of Boren Avenue. They found a man shot in the abdomen, a woman shot in the upper thigh. Police provided first aid until Seattle Fire arrived. They rushed both victims to Harborview in serious condition. The suspect took off. Detectives with the Gun Violence Reduction Unit are now leading that case.
Well, Westlake Park in downtown Seattle about to reopen looks a lot different. Ribbon cutting is tomorrow, just in time for the World Cup. Gone is the old fountain wall along 4th Avenue, the Romanesque arch, and 7 sculptures from the 1988 renovation. In their place, more trees, more plants, and public Wi-Fi. Sage is now accessible to people with disabilities. The total cost was about $6 million.
A Seattle Sounder is headed to the FIFA World Cup. The U.S. men's national team announced midfielder Christian Roldan is on the final 26-player roster.
A bunch of different emotions came to me. Number one, excitement. This is something I've been waiting for a very long time. A dream come true.
It is the second straight World Cup call-up for Roldan. He also made the squad in Qatar in 2022. Roldan and Team USA will be in Seattle to face Australia June 19th.
Well, the Mariners kept it rolling last night. They beat the Athletics 4-1 in Game 2 of the series in Sacramento. Star of the game was M's pitcher Emerson Hancock, who spun 6 scoreless innings, allowing just 1 hit.
Hancock ready. He deals. Swung on, hard hit right to JP on 2 hops at short. Underhand toss to second. Cole Young stomps on the bag, and that's it for the A's in the 6th. Emerson Hancock, excellent night against the A's. Scoreless, 6 innings on 1 hit. He was brilliant.
Seattle will look for the sweep this afternoon. Day baseball in Sacramento. Logan Gilbert will take the mound for the M's. First pitch at 12:05. You can listen on our sister station, 710 Seattle Sports.
It's 8:12. That's time for a check on the weather. And for that, we turn to KIRO 7's Nick Allard.
Beautiful sunshine today. Any fog or low cloud cover remaining is just about gone, and we'll have temperatures getting easily into the mid-70s around Seattle, upper 70s and lower 80s around Chehalis and Olympia, Tacoma. Tomorrow, beautiful, and in the upper 70s and lower 80s, also sunny, but late-day clouds coming in from some Cascade and eastern Washington thunderstorms. Be very breezy to windy tomorrow night east of the Cascades. And then on Friday, we all feel it with low 60s and pockets of showers to start the day. So a huge drop in temperatures. But by Saturday, morning clouds, afternoon sun, even more of that on Sunday in the upper 60s, and then next week into the 70s.
Right now in Seattle, it's sunny and 51.
And it's 8:13. That's time for a check on traffic. We do that every 10 minutes. Chris Sullivan is watching things.
And that fog that Nick was just talking about in our weather forecast hasn't really gone away yet for those of you coming up from the south end. Just kind of hovering right over the top of the I-5 corridor, basically from Lacey up through DuPont. Coincidentally, that matches up with the DuPont gate being closed at JBLM. So we have an 8-mile backup trying to work our way from Olympia on up into Tacoma. The travel time on there is about an hour, maybe an hour and 5. That gives us a 25-minute delay to make that trip from Olympia up to Tacoma. Most of Pierce County, though, is trying to get better. Even the braking past Cheney Stadium is not too bad. 512 is calming down. We're also seeing things improve up the valley from Puyallup up in through and through Pacific. Through Auburn, though, it's still kind of heavy. I think we've hit the high tide mark for our travel time from Puyallup to Renton. We're back under 50, which is a good number. Federal Way to Seattle, still about an hour drive, not too great from the beginnings of Boeing Field on up. Renton to Bellevue, still about 40. We're trying to get better from about 30th up past of the Newcastle area, but we still have a little work to do. Lake Bridges, though, are still in fine shape. Coming down from the north end, we're easing off on westbound Highway 2 away from Bickford, coming out of the Snohomish area. And across the trestle is manageable. Then you have a nice long freeway speed drive on I-5 till you get to about the Alderwood Mall. That's where you pick up some braking from an earlier crash. And then from 175th down, it's not great. From Linwood all the way down through Totem Lake now, we're still dealing with the brake lights there. So we have an hour and a half to go from Everett into Bellevue, about an hour and 15 from Everett into Seattle. So we still have some work to put in coming down from the north end. KIRO Newsradio Real-Time Traffic, I'm Chris Sullivan.
Reliable, refreshing, and ready every morning. Seattle's Morning News.
8:14 now. Well, as we approach June, the city of Seattle is preparing for Pride Month.
Did you say approach June?
Yeah,
oh,
look at the calendar.
This June, Lifelong, in partnership with Seattle Pride, is launching the inaugural Lifelong Pride Gala, an evening for equality. It's a high-energy black tie celebration designed to reimagine how Seattle shows up for and celebrates the LGBTQ plus community.
And joining us live in studio is the CEO of Lifelong, James Shackelford. Hey, James, welcome back to the show. Great to see you. For people who may not know, just remind us, what does Lifelong do?
Yeah, great to see you. Thanks for having me back. So Lifelong is a community health organization. We're on a mission to make health and food accessible. We were founded in the early 1980s at the beginning of the HIV epidemic, and we've since then expanded the scope of who we serve to include folks with additional severe illnesses. And so we're working to make both health and food accessible to everybody.
If memory serves, when we talked to you last year, you had just become CEO of Lifelong, hadn't you?
I had 10
right?
months. I've been in the seat for almost 10 months
and
now, which is hard to believe. It's great. Yeah, it's great. I mean, Seattle is such a welcoming community. The work that we do has such an impact. It's a joy every single day to do the work that I do.
So tell us about this gala. What is coming up? What will it be like?
Yeah, so the gala is a celebration of Pride. So it's meant to both celebrate Pride and equality, things that Lifelong has stood for during our 43 years, and also kind of talk about the work that we still have ahead of us. We look at equality through the lens of health access and food access. And then as we think about the LGBT communities that we serve, in addition to others, we're working to shine a spotlight. And so it's meant to be a great party and also a way to have an impact and to really give back. So there's a cocktail party. It's a creative black tie. So we're hoping that folks really show up in things that they enjoy and things that make them, that bring them joy. And there's a cocktail party. There's a 3-course seated dinner. There are performances and 2 honorees throughout the night.
When you say the work that's ahead of you, what are some of the lifelong goals?
Yeah. So I think for us, we're focused on ways to make health and food accessible. So raising funds for us means that it's unrestricted dollars. We have a 1,600 person wait list for food. So the last conversation we had included a chat about SNAP benefits, right? And so we know across the country there are 42 million people who rely on SNAP benefits for food. So here locally, just on our wait list, it's 1,600 people. And so 1,600 people.
How does that stack up historically? Is that more than usual?
It's more than usual, and it continues to increase month over month over month. I think when I was here in November, it was closer to 1,000 on the wait list, and so that number just continues to rise. So for us, that impact means that the funds that we raise can help us clear the wait list, can help us serve the community in different ways, and that's what we're doing this for.
Lifelong, one time known as the Chicken Soup Brigade.
That's right.
People who may remember that from the 80s. Can you describe just the importance of food for people who are scraping by?
Yeah, I think, when you think about SNAP benefits, for example, right? SNAP benefits for most folks who receive them, it's only one way that they're piecing together the way they access food. Most of our clients are not only receiving food from Lifelong or our Chicken Soup Brigade, they're also on SNAP benefits. They're also on WIC. They're also receiving other support across the community. And so that's what we see for the folks that we serve. We do medically tailored meals. So we do both frozen meals and groceries. And that's not often enough to meet the needs of folks who are hungry. And as we all know, if you're hungry, you need food today. You don't need to be put on a wait list and get food 3, 5, 6 months down the road. You need to eat today.
Talk to us about teaming up with Seattle Pride. What makes Seattle Pride special?
Yeah, we're excited for that partnership. They are a beneficiary of the Pride Gala this year. And so what that means is that some of the funds raised will go towards Seattle Pride's youth program. So as we look at how, as a community, how we support the LGBT youth in Seattle, we're excited to see how that partnership comes to life. When you look at feeling safe, when you look at thoughts or ideation around suicide, those rates are really high for young folks in the LGBT community. And so we're hopeful that through raising money directly for the youth programs, which Lifelong doesn't have, that partnership is one that continues to thrive and that we see lots of benefits through that.
James, when we first talked back in November, you basically just moved to town and you are now 10 months into the role. What have you learned about the community here in Seattle that maybe you didn't fully appreciate before moving here?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm 10 months in. It's been a great 10 months. I have a 2-year-old golden doodle. We walk down to the waterfront all the time.
You have to have a dog.
That's right. Have to have a dog and Birkenstocks, I've learned, right? And so, what I've learned is just how welcoming, truly, the community is. You hear, as a new kind of transplant into Seattle, lots of chatter around the Seattle freeze.
There's no Seattle freeze.
There's no Seattle freeze, exactly. Like, it's a genuinely welcoming, warm community, and folks who want to show up and want to support and want to be helpful. I've experienced that in my 10 months here, and I don't know if that was surprising, but it certainly is when folks are telling you there's a Seattle freeze. And so that's been a pleasant surprise, and I've really enjoyed my time here.
How can people show up for you to help Lifelong?
Yeah, there's lots of ways, and so Pride Gala is one of them, but you can volunteer. You can join us in the kitchen at the Chicken Soup Brigade, which is a lot of fun. You can help the cooks and the chefs prepare food. You can package food. You can volunteer to be a delivery driver. You can volunteer to help pack groceries. So there's lots of ways to show up and to support the community through the work that Lifelong does.
And maybe just a step back, what can people who are allies of the LGBTQ plus community, what can they be doing to support you?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a space where when I came in and as a CEO 10 months ago and looked at the work that we're doing and how we're showing up across the community, I think we could do more. And this is an example of how we're showing up in a different way. And so I think that we're still designing ways that how we show up. And that means that we're creating more opportunities for the community to help us as we all show up differently. And so Pride Gala is one of them. And there will be more. And so I'd say support organizations like Seattle Pride, support Lifelong. If you're in the business community, GSBA is a great partner. And so there are, as I mentioned, the welcoming that I've received in Seattle, that spirit rings true across the community.
Is everybody welcome at the gala, and how do I go? I like
Absolutely,
fancy parties.
please. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a great party. So pridegala.org is where you can find more information. As I mentioned, we've got Ms. Crackers performing, Macy Gray's performing, Jake Shears from Scissor Sisters is performing. It's hosted by Brad Goreski. We're honoring Laverne Cox and Chris Olsen. And tickets, tables, sponsorships are still available at pridegala.org.
All right, James Shackelford, thank you so much for joining us today. Good luck on this, and we will have you back soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Glad you live in Seattle.
Yeah.
It's just about 8:23. We need to get a check on traffic once again. We do that every 10 minutes. Chris Sullivan is watching the roads.
Yeah, I figured out why we're so slow pulling away from Linwood still on southbound 405. We have a crash about halfway between the I-5 split down to Canyon Park. It's on the right-hand side, but there's a couple of, there's an IRT there with it plus State Patrol, so there's a lot of lights to deal with. That's one of the reasons why we're still dealing with about an hour-and-a-half trip to go from Everett into Bellevue. Also very slow as you work your way through Totem Lake. I-5's cooled off a bit, still kind of seeing a little extra braking through Linwood after an earlier crash, but then the bumper-to-bumper grind begins around 175th all the way across the Ship Canal Bridge. We picked up a couple of minutes. It's down to about 50 minutes out of Linwood and an hour and 10 all the way out of the Everett area. Northbound I-5, yeah, you're still struggling. My good friend Jake, Jesuit High School, class of 1988, on his way up in his truck making his deliveries today. Took him 45 minutes to go from Lacey to get up through DuPont. Because of that DuPont gate at JBLM being closed, plus a little bit of fog. Yeah, it's just, and we got 2 weeks of this. The construction is not supposed to end until June 9th. So hang in there. Hopefully we'll get better as the week goes on. Most of Tacoma is cleared out nicely. Federal Way to Seattle, still about an hour. Back under 50. Puyallup to Renton. Renton to Bellevue is about 45. Lake Bridges, though, get you guys a gold star. You guys are doing well. KIRO News Radio Real-Time Traffic. I'm Chris Sullivan.
Plenty of sun today, a high of 73, 79 now the forecast high for tomorrow. I'm just going to call it 80.
Okay. And I'm going to call in sick.
No, you can't, because I will. It's right now in Seattle. It's sunny and 51.
Just kidding. No place I'd rather be. Coming up, serious stuff. We continue our coverage of the tragic implosion of a chemical plant in Longview. Corwin Hake and Luke Ducey will have the latest.
We'll also hear from former State Attorney General Rob McKenna breaking down the incoming Supreme Court decision on birthright citizenship. That's on the way on Seattle's Morning News.
KIRO News Radio, where you turn for the news you depend on.
KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey is here with more.
24% of businesses are now thinking about leaving Washington.
Traffic.
We are definitely seeing some slowing through the S-curves.
Conversation.
We build it, we produce it, we charge for it.
And your Super Bowl champion Seahawks.
A one-hander! Are you kidding me?
Broadcasting live from the KIRO News Radio YouTube channel. KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM.
You could sleep through the night without thinking twice. You could take a seat in the middle of the theater. You could drive without worry of where the next restroom is. You used to say yes, and somewhere along the way, you stopped. Not because of one big moment, because of 100 small ones. A little more urgency, one more trip to the bathroom at 2 a.m., one more mental note about where the restroom is. It happened slowly enough that it just became you. But it's not you. It's enlarged prostate, and there's a treatment called aquablation therapy, the only ultrasound-guided robotic-assisted therapy for enlarged prostate. Find an aquablation therapist near you. Call Aquablation Seattle at 206-666-2466, 206-666-2466. That's 206-666-2466. All surgical treatments carry risks, and results may vary. Side effects may include urinary symptoms, mild pain, ejaculatory dysfunction, or infection. In rare cases, complications to the urethra and rectum may occur. Aquablation therapy may not be right for everyone. Talk to your urologist to learn more. Visit aquablationseattle.com.
KIRO FM and HD1 Tacoma, Seattle.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-771-1300. That's 800-771-1300.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now it's the final days of our Everything's on Sale event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses. Our Memorial Day event ends Monday. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good night's sleep.
Download the KIRO Newsradio app, where you can watch us live or stream us live anywhere, anytime.
How would this initiative, whatever this initiative is, how would he fund it?
Stay connected everywhere. Download the KIRO Newsradio app.
Healthcare costs are rising, and a major driver is hospital prices. They've increased more than 250% over the past 25 years. Families and local businesses are feeling it. At Primera Blue Cross, we're working to change that by negotiating with hospitals to secure fair, responsible prices so you can get the care you need at a cost you can afford. That's coverage that counts. Learn more at coveragethatcounts.primera.com.
The Harnish Auto Family Super Sale is happening right now. The cost of living has gone up, but when buying a car, it doesn't have to feel like it. Zero Down delivers, no payments all summer, and exclusive 10-day deals in partnership with Tapco Credit Union. With a wide selection of new vehicles and over 400 used vehicles across 5 dealerships, you'll find just what you're looking for. Visit Subaru, Volkswagen, and Chevy Buick GMC of Puyallup or Kia and Chevy of Everett. Harnish Auto Family. People matter.
Offers available OAC on select models. Exclusions apply. See dealer for details.
Your best source for local news. KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Hey, it's Jason Rance. I'm here with our local tax expert and advocate, Greg Nunn from None Better Tax Resolution. One thing the IRS has been working on is to modernize their infrastructure, the software that they use. And, you know, we look at that and say that's great for government efficiency, but in this case, that kind of efficiency means they're spotting people way faster.
They're able to do that, and they have to do that because they have fewer personnel. But look at your own work environment, how technology is replacing people, and you can get as much work done or more with the proper technology. And that's what the IRS's goal is that we need to use technology, especially AI, to make determinations on, okay, who should we go after? Who are we missing?
If you're having trouble with the IRS, then call Greg Nunn. None Better Tax Resolution. From stress to success with IRS Solutions. 425-947-1967 or Google NUNN. None Better Tax Resolution.
Now, the latest from KIRO Newsradio and MyNorthwest.com.
Live from East Lake Avenue.
You're listening to Charlie Harger and Manda Factor, Seattle's morning news.
Good morning. It's 8:30. The emergency responders in Longview are facing a much more dangerous situation than they originally believed after a chemical tank implosion yesterday left 1 dead and 9 missing.
We get the update now from KIRO News Radio's Corwin Hake live at the scene.
Yeah, things are changing. Yesterday, when I first spoke to Cowlitz 2 Fire and Rescue Chief Scott Goldstein, he believed the tank that ruptured here at Dynawave Packaging originally held a relatively small 80,000 gallons of the toxic paper-making chemical known as white liquor. Now, he knows differently.
That information has been modified, and it is now approximately a 900,000 gallon tank of that white liquor process. After evaluations midday, we believe that there could be a potential of 90,000 gallons remaining in that tank.
Goldstein maintains there's no danger to the general public, but he does say there's an acute risk to members of the recovery team still searching for the 9 missing workers. No cause for this implosion has yet been made public. Live in Longview, Corwin Hake, KIRO Newsradio.
Thank you, Corwin. And I'm Luke Ducey in Seattle. A vigil was held last night in downtown Longview for those 9 workers still missing and the 1 worker that has died. The organizer and former mayor Spencer Boudreau talked with KIRO 7 TV.
You know, when anything happens down at the mills, we all know somebody affected. You know, this is probably the worst job site disaster we've had here ever.
If you're watching on our YouTube feed, we've been showing you photos all morning long, reportedly from ground zero of this massive implosion. Vehicles smashed and flipped over. It also appears that there's a massive tank in one of the photos that appears collapsed. This is a massive plant. You can fit 3 Disneylands on their site along the Columbia River there. The plant converts wood chips into paperboard, which is then used to make billions of items like the milk and juice cartons on your breakfast table right now, paper cups, food containers, tissue paper, printer paper, wrapping paper, and much, much more. That so-called white liquor that you heard about, that chemical that's spilled in the plant, is used to break down those wood chips, highly corrosive. It appears that more than 800,000 gallons of white liquor probably leaked here. That's enough to cover a football field nearly 2 feet deep. As for why this happened, Governor Ferguson says they will find a cause.
On behalf of the people of the state of Washington, I want all those individuals to know that we stand with you. We'll be here to do everything we can to help with the situation, and we'll be here as long as it takes.
Also, Charlie and Manda, there have been multiple safety violations at this plant, according to state L&I records, one that involved a worker who had a finger amputated. 2 investigations remain open, and now, tragically, there's a 3rd investigation.
Luke Ducey reporting live. It's 8:33. We needed to check in with Sully for traffic on the 3s.
And there was still no improvement on northbound I-5 as you make your way through the Lacey area trying to get up through DuPont. DuPont Gate remains closed for construction, and we still have an hour drive, at least, from Olympia into Tacoma, about 5 to 7 miles worth of a bumper-to-bumper drive as you try to make your way up there. Once you're past that, the rest of the drive through JBLM and South Tacoma is manageable. Most of Pierce County is cleared out. Federal Way to Seattle, still about an hour. There's some brake lights right around 320th, and then at the north end part of that drive as well. The Puyallup to Renton Drive is back under 50 minutes for the first time in a while. Definitely clearing out in Auburn. At the Renton to Bellevue, back under 45, so that's great. Lake bridges are still fine. Coming down from the north end, still, though, a different story. Hour and a half from Everett to Bellevue and about an hour and 10 from Everett to Seattle. Brake lights you've gotten used to there, so just a tough go today. KIRO Newsradio real-time traffic. I'm Chris Sullivan.
Going to be mostly sunny, 73 for today, 79 tomorrow in the sunshine, and then a big change on Friday. Clouds are going to roll in, occasional rain showers, and a high of only 61. So far, the weekend looks good, though. Morning clouds, afternoon sunshine, and highs in the mid and upper 60s. It's 56 in the sunshine in Seattle right now.
Seattle's morning news. Always live, always connected. Stream, watch, subscribe, and share at mynorthwest.com.
Busy time for justices in the U.S. Supreme Court. They're preparing to issue some huge decisions in the coming days.
And this comes as President Trump and the vice president are applying pressure to the conservative majority justices.
So let's take a look at some of the decisions to come. Former state AG Rob McKenna joins us. What are we looking at? What are some of the headlines here, Rob?
Well, the headlines are that we've got a big decision coming down from the court in late June or early July concerning birthright citizenship. You'll recall this is a case that President Trump has really taken a strong position on, demanding that the court agree with his administration that the 14th Amendment does not guarantee that if you're born in this country, you become a citizen. So this is the case where he personally attended the oral arguments at the court, something that no one could ever remember a president doing before. It's a case he's spoken out about publicly. He's demanded that the justices he appointed be personally loyal to him and vote with him the way he wants. But, that's probably not going to happen. Remember that they voted against him, a majority did, on the issue of the tariffs. And he was furious about that. But that didn't stop them from ruling, based on the law, not on politics.
Rob, you have said demanded twice. How normal is it for a president to make demands of the justices?
It's not normal. We just, we don't see that. We see presidents speaking about the court and some, I suppose, sometimes speaking publicly that they hope for a certain outcome. But he has used a combination of bullying. For example, he said that two of the justices, embarrassed their families when they voted against him on tariffs. So he's been very loud and very aggressive with them in public. They have not responded directly to him when he's done that. But at the same time, he invited the justices to the state dinner with King Charles III a few weeks back. Was that an attempt to mollify them, or to cajole them? It's not really clear, but 6 of them did attend, the 6 conservatives, and it's still not known whether the 3 liberals were even invited to it or not. But it was odd because that dinner was held the night before another argument that involved one of his initiatives. So he seems to be doing what Trump does, which is to use a combination of flattery and bullying to try to get what he wants.
So maybe a preview of where the justices might be leaning. How would you describe the nature of their questions about birthright citizenship?
Well, they're clearly, most of them are clearly very skeptical about the idea that the 14th Amendment doesn't mean what it says. When it talks about being born in the country. So I think that a large majority of the court are going to rule against the administration and uphold the concept that if you're born in this country, you're a citizen of this country. Of course, if Americans wanted to change that, they could amend the Constitution. It's a high hill to climb, but that's the way you amend the Constitution, not through Supreme Court rulings. Now, could he get a couple of justices to vote his way? It is possible. He did get, I think, 3 justices to vote his way on tariffs, led by Brett Kavanaugh, because some of these justices tend to be very deferential to executive power and are willing to go along with what the executive wants. But some of the other strong conservatives will not do that. Justice Gorsuch, who was appointed by Trump in his first term as president, has said, hey, my job here is to, defend the Constitution, not to defend the president.
What else is on the docket that you're going to be watching?
Honestly, birthright citizenship is the moon that blots out the sun. It's really the most important case that I think remains. There are some others as well, but I only focus on birthright citizenship to get ready this morning because it has such profound implications. But we'll see more stories coming out about some of the other cases down the road, and we can definitely talk about those as we get closer to June, when the most controversial cases typically are handed down.
Rob, why is it that we never know exactly what day the Supreme Court is going to hand down a decision? We click on SCOTUS blog, we hit refresh about 1 million times, waiting to see what's happening.
Well, the court moves to its own beat. They decide when they're going to release things. It's like a 3-legged race at a picnic, except there are 9 of them, right? The Chief Justice has more leeway and will control when opinions are released. And of course, when there are complicated decisions, you'll have multiple opinions. Even justices who agree in the result will frequently write their own opinion. It's called a concurrence. In that, so when you have that many opinions that you're juggling, and the fact that they'll sometimes talk to each other and negotiate over language in an opinion to get each other to join their opinions, there are a lot of moving pieces, and so that makes the date for an opinion to be released unpredictable sometimes. And this is one way the court signals its independence. It decides when it's going to issue its opinions. It isn't dictated by anyone else, whether the White House or Congress. It will decide when it issues its opinions. And again, the tradition has been that the highest stakes, high profile, most controversial decisions tend to be released toward the end of the session. I think in large part because they're complicated, but it's hard to say whether the court feels like it just makes sense to release those at the end because of their importance. This is a bit of a black box that we're talking about in terms of how they decide the timing of the release of decisions.
That is former state AG Rob McKenna joining us on Seattle's Morning News.
8:40, what's coming up in traffic, Sully?
Well, we're going to take a look at the continuing slowing coming up out of Lacey and break it down for you next.
Now that Wendy's has these new biggie deals, everyone in the family can get what they're craving, from nugs to JBCs. The parental units can get an $8 biggie bundle, the eldest who think they're so grown can get a $6 biggie bag, and the little one who can do no wrong can get a $4 biggie bites. You know, assuming they have a credit card. No, I'm kidding. We take cash too. $4, $6, and $8 biggie deals for the whole family. Only at Wendy's.
Price and participation may vary. Single items at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska, California, and Hawaii.
Support comes from Amazon Business. Unlock smart business buying with fast, free delivery on millions of items and practical AI innovations that automate repetitive tasks so you can make smarter decisions faster. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Power your drive with Mobil 1 motor oil. Buy 5 quarts, get $15 back, and score a fast and furious prize after rebate at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
A lot of businesses are gearing up for a busy summer, and that means choosing a bank with the accounts, tools, and services you need to be successful. The right bank can make a big difference, right, Brad?
It sure can, Dave. And WaFd Bank can help with business checking, loans, credit cards, and so much more. WaFd Bank is also an SBA preferred lender of choice, so you can grow with confidence.
Yeah, but what about when you need help with something? Is there a real person who's available and who knows how to help?
Absolutely. Our friendly and knowledgeable local bankers are ready and waiting to help you with whatever your business might need. From day one, our bankers get to know you and your business to build a strong foundation for future success. This especially helps when it's time to apply for loans and to spot gaps in your business operations, so we can recommend the services that would be most helpful.
Which is exactly why we say WaFd has you covered. To learn more, visit wafedbank.com or stop by your local branch. Discover why they were awarded Best Bank 3 years in a row. WaFd Bank, built for business. Member FDIC, loans subject to credit approval.
8:43 now. Traffic on the threes with Chris Sullivan.
We are working with an average Wednesday. The heaviest and most unusual stuff today is, of course, the northbound I-5 drive as you make your way through Lacey, continuing to work with the closure of the DuPont Gate to JBLM. This really has an impact on the drive because people are going other places. They've got to get off at different spots. So we still have an hour drive to go from Olympia into Tacoma, and all of the braking there is right there through Lacey, getting up to DuPont. After that, it's a pretty clean drive the rest of the way. By the way, if you wanted to go the old Pacific Highway back door and work your way on it to Mounts Road, you might save yourself a lot of the time working your way through the Lacey area because it starts cooling off as you start heading up the hill into DuPont. But again, that's not always the case. That's kind of hit or miss. But that could change in 2 or 3 minutes because that road doesn't really handle a lot of capacity. Once you get through that, Federal Way to Seattle's about an hour. We're back under 50 minutes from Puyallup to Renton, but not by much. Those last couple of miles are going to be pretty heavy from 180th on up. And then Renton to Bellevue is about 40. Lake bridges are still fine. Coming down from the north end, kind of a standard day for you guys. Hour and a half from Everett to Bellevue and an hour and 10 from Everett to Seattle. Kind of settled into the normal pattern there. This report brought to you by the Harnish Auto family. The super sales on now through May 31st. Exclusive deals, 0 down, no payments all summer on approval of credit. In Puyallup and Everett, Harnish Auto family, where people matter.
Beautiful day, mostly sunny, warming up to 73 for today. Tomorrow we'll push 80 in the sunshine. And then Friday, much cooler, 61 scattered showers. It's just for one day, though. For the weekend, it looks like we'll see clouds early on, but sunshine for the afternoons and highs back in the mid and upper 60s. Right now, it's 56 in Seattle.
Coming up, G. Scott on the latest layoffs from a tech company. We'll talk about that next on Seattle's Morning News.
Welcome to this week's Puget Sound Express Whale Report. Naturalists from Puget Sound Express report that it's officially humpback whale season in the Salish Sea. Humpbacks were absent from our waters for nearly 100 years due to whaling. In 1997, a female humpback returned, and in 2003, she brought a calf with her, which is when she earned the name Big Mama. She has kept returning along with 8 known calves, 7 grand calves, and 4 great grand calves, and she's back this year as well. Each summer, dozens of other humpbacks return. It's become known as the Humpback Comeback. Family-run Puget Sound Express offers daily guaranteed whale watching tours departing from Edmonds, Seattle's most popular and well-reviewed whale tours. Orcas, humpbacks, gray whales, minke whales, and so much more. Don't miss out on your chance to see whales in the wild. Family-run Puget Sound Express guarantees you'll see whales or your next trip is absolutely free. Book online at PugetSoundExpress.com.
It started as a puddle.
Where?
In the shower.
Uh-oh.
Then the kitchen sink.
Started backing up?
Yeah.
I know where this is going.
Clogged up.
Right. No problem.
Beg your pardon?
There's no clog we can't clear.
You're Dan.
From Apollo Plumbing.
This is going to get pricey.
How about $83?
To clear my drain?
Apollo Plumbing clears main drains every day.
For $83?
$83 or it's free.
What's the catch?
No catch. We'll even do a camera inspection.
Why's that?
It's the best way to find the cause of your clog.
And it's included?
No extra charge. Truth is, we hate clogs.
I don't love them.
Seen them all.
Ew.
I promise, there's no clog Apollo can't clear.
Guaranteed.
83 or free.
Goodbye, slow drains.
All it takes is an accessible clean out.
And Apollo gets my drains draining again.
You call, we come, it's fixed.
My heroes.
Just doing our job.
Thank you, Apollo Plumbing.
ApolloPlumbing.com.
Guys, tired all the time? Gaining weight? Low drive? These aren't just signs of aging. They could be low testosterone or other underlying issues. This June for Men's Health Month, Revive Men's Health in Washington is helping men take control of their health with a free, comprehensive wellness panel. A $400 value included when starting treatment. Your panel checks key health markers, including testosterone, blood sugar, cholesterol, kidneys, liver, and thyroid, so you can finally understand what your body's been trying to tell you. Since 2011, over 120,000 men have trusted Revive to get real results. More energy, better sleep, improved mood, and confidence that shows. If something feels off, don't wait. Get answers, get a plan, and start feeling better. This offer ends June 30th. Schedule your free, comprehensive wellness panel today. Call 206-529-1111. That's 206-529-1111 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Why pay retail? Save big with the largest carpet and hardwood flooring selection at Carpet Liquidators. 7 locations, we've got you covered at Carpet Liquidators.
Why pay retail? Carpet Liquidator.
Seattle's morning news. Hear it live, stream it online, watch the show, or catch the podcast anytime on mynorthwest.com.
Well, here he is from the G and Ursula Show, just around the corner, 9 to noon, every weekday on KIRO Newsradio.
Yeah.
G. Scott is here. Good morning, G.
Hey, good morning. You know what?
You doubled down on the orange, by the way. It looks terrific. You wore orange yesterday, too.
Appreciate you.
Looks nice.
Thank you. You know, today's topic, I've been debating the entire time, even up until right now, how the different angles I want to talk about it. So let me just be boring for a second and just give a simple angle. Yesterday, this week, Meta filed the paperwork where nearly 1,400 jobs are nearly gone. That's 20% of the local workforce here in the Seattle area. Engineers, designers, data folks, all the people that help really build this company. And right now, their last day is looking like it's going to be July 22nd. And according to what's been said, it's said that this is a way to clear 145, because they're looking to clear $145 billion a year to buy machines, right? AI stuff, that kind of deal. And so if you do the math on that, 1,400 employees, and then you talk about 145 billion, that kind of equates to about $100 million per worker. But the craziest thing happened yesterday. I want to tell you guys, when I saw this, I really didn't think it was real. You know how sometimes you guys get on social media and you might either hear something or you see something, and you're like, nah, there's no way. So yesterday, y'all, in the Ballard Locks, this beautiful $300 million yacht. It's 387-foot yacht. Oh, it's pretty.
I'm looking at it right now.
And when you guys get a chance, you got to see it. It is amazing. Now, when it pulls through the Ballard Locks, and I know you're like, well, gee, who's the owner? No. The owner wasn't on the yacht at the time. But the owner was back in Cali. And so what was the owner doing? Well, the owner just coincidentally, on the same day that this beautiful yacht pulls into the ballot locks, the same day this owner was probably signing the paperwork for the 1,400 workers to be laid off. And that announcement came yesterday. And Mark Zuckerberg's $300 million yacht pulled into Seattle yesterday. Listen, could you imagine getting laid off from your company, but your company's making big money all the time? Like, it's not losing money. It's really making money. Matter of fact, you look at the stock market and you see that this company is thriving. And on the day you find out, however you find out, on the same day, Mark Zuckerberg's $300 million yacht pulls into Seattle.
Salt in the wound, man.
I mean, like, the thing is if you go to my Instagram, I talk about this kind of stuff every single day. Mm-hmm. But what's happening is there's a new game that's happening, and this is where I just want to remind folks. You see, there's a lot of three-card Monte that's happening. Have you guys ever gone to New York and you've seen three-card Monte and you pay attention to this, watch this, and all the card tricks and stuff like that, and they get people. And so what they do is a lot of times while you are paying attention to the hands, what you don't do is a lot of times it's the mouth, it's the talking that happens that gets you distracted, right, and get you looking at other things. Meanwhile, the trick is happening other places. That is what's continuing to happen every single day. People are talking about one thing while not focusing on another. But this right here is just pretty gross to me. And so what a day, what a day. And my heart goes out to the 1,400 people.
I'm looking at a story in GeekWire right now. According to the lock operator, it's the biggest boat he's ever seen. And the bumpers on the side of the boat are about the size of small SUVs. It has a covered pool on the back deck and a hot tub. Whew.
It's crazy. You know, I was going to go deeper. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of Detroit. Back in the 70s and 80s, and, you know, Detroit, you bring up a car and all the people in Detroit were rolling. I had family members that lived in Detroit. I remember in the 80s, they were making good. They were, man, nice neighborhood. When I go to Detroit and used to go back to Detroit to see my family, oh, they was good. Life was good. But then something happened to Detroit. What happened? There's more machines. It make cars faster, more efficient. You don't need as many of the workers anymore. We might be seeing that here in this world. So anyway, that was some good news that I tried to make it a
Very uplifting. Thank you.
Yeah, boy, I feel like $1 million right now.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
You know what? Get out. I'm
appropriate.
I say lovingly. You may be excused.
G and Ursula, 9 to noon. Sully, take it away.
Still struggling coming up from the south end with an hour drive from Olympia to Tacoma. About a 5-mile backup working your way through Lacey up through DuPont. DuPont Gate remains closed at JBLM. Once you're through that, most of Pierce County is clearing out. Still have about an hour from Federal Way to Seattle, maybe a little bit under depending on how you hit it. But boy, from the middle of Boeing Field on into downtown is not great. The West Seattle Bridge is backed up all the way almost to the golf course, so plan on some delays there as well. Renton to Bellevue, 45 minutes. The Valley Freeway back up to 45. We're definitely seeing a little bit late action there as you approach 180th going on. Eastbound 18 struggling over Tiger Mountain at the top there over the summit, but once you're through that, it's not too bad to drive the rest of the way into the Snoqualmie interchange at I-90. Lake bridges are still fine. We've added a couple more minutes now to the drive from Everett to Seattle, so we're back up to an hour and 20 from Everett to Seattle, matching hour and 20 from Everett to Bellevue as we've picked up about 10 minutes there. KIRO Newsradio Real-Time Traffic, I'm Chris Sullivan.
Mostly sunny, 73 for today, pushing 80 tomorrow in the sunshine, and then a big change on Friday. Mostly cloudy. We'll see some showers at times and a high of only 61. Right now in Seattle, it's gorgeous, sunshine and 56.
Seattle City Council member Rob Saka joins G and Ursula next. to discuss why he's urging Mayor Katie Wilson to turn on surveillance cameras in Seattle.
Feel free to text them on the Muckleshoot Casino Resort text line 888-973-5476.
When Dennis suggested retirement planning to his wife Linda, she had the same reaction lots of people do.
Do we really need it?
Then they attended a free seminar with elder law attorney Rajiv Nagayich at LifePoint Law.
He asked me, what do you want? And he truly listened. And at the end of it, it was like, we need to do this.
There are many people on the radio that speak about many things. And when we got here and actually worked with the team that Rajiv has put together, it turns out that it is not just talk, it is action.
And in the worst case?
I said to him, if something happens to Dennis, what would I do exactly? And he said, you pick up the phone and you call Rajiv or you call me. And that right there was like peace of mind.
Register for a free LifePoint Law retirement planning seminar in Tacoma on June 4th, Mukilteo June 6th, Lacey June 9th, or Bellevue June 13th, 6:30 p.m. Space is limited. Sign up at lifepointlaw.com. That's lifepointlaw.com.
KIRO FM and HD1 Tacoma, Seattle.
What if you could have the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? During the Xfinity Summer Savings Event, now through June 15th, new customers can get our best price on gig Wi-Fi, just $50 a month for 5 years. And get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fi that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. Plus, add one line of Xfinity Mobile Select and you can save an average of $60 a month over Verizon and AT&T. You can even try it free for a year. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities during the Xfinity Summer Savings Event. Get it now at Xfinity.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra. Savings based on 1 gig internet and 1 mobile select line compared to similar Verizon and AT&T plans over 5 years. After 12 months, regular rates apply to mobile select. Xfinity internet required. Speeds vary. Use of fiber coaxial cable.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Your medication for enlarged prostate is working. That's what you tell yourself. You're up 3 times a night instead of 5. The urgency is manageable. The stream's not great, but it's fine. That's the problem. Fine. Enlarged prostate, or BPH, doesn't pause because the medication takes the edge off. The prostate keeps growing. The bladder keeps working harder. And over time, those changes can be harder to reverse. But surgery? Not for you, right? Aquablation is not the surgery you're picturing. It's the only ultrasound-guided, robotic-assisted therapy for enlarged prostate. Don't wait until things become unbearable. Find an Aquablation urologist near you. Call Aquablation Seattle at 206-666-2466. 206-666-2466. That's 206-666-2466. All surgical treatments carry risks and results may vary. Side effects may include urinary symptoms, mild pain, ejaculatory dysfunction, or infection. In rare cases, complications to the urethra and rectum may occur. Aquablation therapy may not be right for everyone. Talk to your urologist to learn more. Visit aquablationseattle.com.
Mariners baseball is in full swing, and it's not too late to come on board as a season ticket member. With